Growing with fishes. Growing with fishes. Growing with fishes.
Oh, we're gonna loop somewhere. All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Growing with Fishes podcast, episode 365. We have a whole bunch of badass guests with us today. Really excited. Someone's got the podcast playing in the background. That's all right. We used to have that problem all the time when Marty and I started this show. One of us would always forget because we'd have it open, and so we have a super sweet list of guests today. We got Brendan, my old roommate, back from Spectrum King / VPD Pro these days, and all kinds of other things. But if you've seen him, he's had lots of great lighting episodes. We got Mr. Green Jeans Garden back with us again. He used to be a regular episode, a guest on the show. We got Dr. Faust with us. Super excited to have him back on the show. And we got Mr. Green, if you guys are familiar with the old early 2000s video content on cannabis. He was basically the first one that put a video out there, and the reason why I'm growing weed today. So we got a really great, and we have more people coming a little bit later in the show that are coming home from work and stuff like that. So be sure to join us as we go along with the show. So thanks a lot, everybody, for coming. And I guess maybe we can get everybody to give a quick intro on themselves while we're going. Do you want to go first there, Dr. Faust, and introduce yourself?
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh boy, get this thing. Well, I'm Robert Faust, and I live up on a mountain in Oregon, and I got a pond full of fish, and I got a greenhouse, and I'm retired from the ag services, organic farmer business. But I'm starting a new farming venture this year on my property here. And it's going to be making maple syrup from the big leaf maple, which is they're promoting it, OSU, and it's a real resource. And I got all these trees. So basically, sustainable forest farming. And then we got truffle dogs coming, because we got Douglas fir and all that. So kind of the fungi and sap of the tree, and trying to go back to the basics, And of course, I have my chickens, which, and then experimental labs. See, we're doing a lot. We're doing plant research, a lot of really incredibly important and revealing research with the kind herb. And so that's pretty much it, and I don't have any secrets, it's all about trying to get the truth out, which is, wow. But, you got to try.
I know I remember learning from you at the first Regen conference, and you had that awesome presentation about tannins and SAR and all that stuff, and so informative. It's always nice to have you on the show.
Great, thanks. Yeah,
I appreciate you coming today. Mr. Green, you want to introduce yourself? You are the guy who kind of started my weed career back in the day.
Right, yeah. I'm Mr. Green. I got inspired way back when I was trying to figure out how to grow indoor, and there was very little information available. You just had some of the old guys and some of their books. And the only video that was available was a horrible video but they tried, but it was just some guy, like, he was like pointing and doing this glance, and it was really bad. So when I figured it all out, I had I had a lot of, gumption in me, and I just finished university. And so I knew how to write an essay. I knew how to figure it out. So we just put it together, and I met a cameraman at Burning Man, my very first Burning Man. That was a fun experience. And together we just went and produced that movie. It was good. It was good. And then, I've just been doing my thing lately. I'm looking forward to my retirement. Robert says he's retired. That sounds really good. So hopefully I get to sneak out of my matrix world, my corporate matrix world in a couple of 5 years. That's what I'm looking at. If everything goes as scheduled, but who knows what reality is going to be brought to us, right? Because we don't know what's and so we're just doing it. And Steve found me randomly. I was kind of camouflaged and hidden, and Steve was digging and digging and digging, and he found me somehow. He got a hold of some old number, and he tracked us down. And been coming on the podcast a little bit, and just enjoying it. So I'm here to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. I think that's pretty exciting. Aquaponics is so cool. Just the whole principle of it, the whole concept of it. And then Robert was just talking about the maple trees and everything else, and regenerative. And, that's where it's all about. We don't know, corporate farming is doing its own thing. So, and we got to do our own thing as well. We'll just create the reality that we need to create. I still got to go to the store. If the trucks stop rolling, we're going to all be in big, big trouble. Mm-hmm. But hopefully it doesn't happen like that. Hopefully we're able to just, tweak our reality in the right direction that we want to put it toward truth, is what Robert said earlier, is that's a good concept. It'd be nice to have a little bit of that around. I've been tripping on this whole Tartaria thing. They kept that under wraps for so long, but it's been popping up on my feed. Is that real? So much in the past year, 6 months in the year. And it's just sparking something in me. Like, yeah, man, I think it's all just a big, what they've presented to us and what they've taught us is not the reality, But and nonetheless, here we are. And we're celebrating, and we're doing it.
Mr. Green was the guest that took me the most number of hours to hunt down. After that was Gypsy Nirvana, which I think, Mr. Green, you were the one, I think, originally that got me Gypsy's info. I think originally.
Me, yeah. I did, huh?
Yeah, because you're old friends with them. But anyways, that was, you two are like the people that had to spend hours and hours and hours and hours. And Mr. Green especially had to do some Google foo and to hunt you down, but it was really funny. I called him one day, and it was like his wife's cell phone number instead of his phone number, but I got close enough to get to him.
Experience the advanced Apple Watch Ultra 2 with GPS.
We got an Apple ad playing on
nice.
We also got Jordan River joining us. How's it going, Jordan?
Hey guys. Hey Steve, how you doing? Hey, happy 10-year anniversary, man.
Thanks. Yeah.
Wanted
Appreciate
to
it.
pop on here and say congratulations. What a heavy hitter panel.
Are we do we have an announcement, or do we not have an announcement?
Oh, bro, we've got an announcement. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I want to start by thanking you, Steve. Thank you so much for helping make this project a reality. This was like something really near and dear to my heart. And I've never gotten to work with you before, and now we're actually working together in an official capacity. It makes me really happy. So I just want to thank you. Gosh, Steve, I think I have to turn off my green screen to show it, though, don't I? Because it's colored green.
Oh yeah, whatever it is we need to do there.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to like do the big reveal and then have it like, you know what I'm saying? Have it wash out in the background. Yeah. Hold on one second. There we go. This should work. Okay, so me and Steve have been working on a project. For those of you who have been following Growcast, I'm big into coffee. And I have always had this passion for coffee and this passion for cannabis, and so we finally combined them, and Steve helped me launch. This will be available probably Monday at farmerjoes.com, but he helped me launch my new infused coffee brand. And I'm really excited about this because Steve, and then I have a story that I'm going to call out, Steve. Steve helped me get the cleanest MCT THC ever. It's all I wanted to use because we're using really good coffee. We're using regeneratively grown, certified organic beans, rainforest friendly. I've been to these farms in Colombia. I've met these farmers. They're so amazing. I'm so like grateful to be working with them. And so I'll tell this story. Here's the instant pack that we made up right there. So cool. I'm so excited about this, you guys. And I'll tell this story that kind of puts Steve on the spot too, because when I first started this company, I'm working with these coffee producers and they sent me some instant coffee to try that was high quality instant coffee. Because most people take their worst beans and they save those for instant, right? But this guy was saying we take the good stuff and we make it into instant. And so I tried it and it was a Nicaraguan bean that was delicious. And I said, I want to take the Colombian beans that we have and make them into instant and create this product, which we did. And so I'd never tasted the Colombian beans in instant form. And Steve makes it for me and he mixes it all up. And I have a bunch of money and time in this project and he's involved in this project. And I go, so Steve, how does it taste? Does it taste good? And what was your reply, Steve? I swear to God. He goes, oh, I don't drink coffee. I don't know. It all tastes bad to me.
Yeah.
What? What do you? Well, give it to somebody who does drink coffee. I need to know if this tastes good. Turns out it tastes great, but that was really funny, Steve. I was like, "Are you kidding me? You don't even drink coffee?"
No, I've had our samples and stuff, and they're quite good. But
that was really funny, man. No, Steve, thank you for real. I really appreciate it. The launch has gone so well, and you're good at what you do, man. You're really really smart guy, and the coffee is just fantastic. I wish you did drink more coffee because you'd be hooked. You'd be hooked on it.
Well, I've been drinking it more often now that we have some products. And
thank you, Steve. Happy 10-year anniversary. I'm really excited about this. This will be dropping on Monday or next week. Say next week.
Yeah, so you guys can check that out. Follow Jordan's and stuff for more info. I'll make sure we have another video and we actually have them on sale and everything.
Yeah.
So.
At Growcast and farmerjoes.com, JOS. Thank you, Steve, for being a part of this project, man. It's been a real blast working with you.
Thanks. Brendan, you want to introduce yourself and what you're doing these days? Because you got all kinds of cool humidifier stuff going on.
Steve and I suffer from the same affliction, which is of OCD nerds, basically. We go deep down rabbit holes. I went very deep down the LED lighting rabbit hole years ago, created formulas that were stolen from me. Now the whole world has them. Lighting I did, I always figured out there's going to be a way to make better plants. And I came down to where what I noticed everyone doing wrong, I said, well, here's the hole. Here's the missing part. Everyone has the light, they have the temperature, but they don't have the humidity. So what I do now is I create VPD Pro is my current company where we make humidifiers that make specific size particles that expand into the space. So you can see this thing blowing like a freight train. You put your hand 2 feet away and your hand's dry, getting hit by a cloud that immediately expands into the space. So, and then I'm developing software and things where I can literally set the room with an infrared tracker on your plant leaves. And if the temperature goes up or down, it'll adjust all the variables for you. So that's where I'm finishing that one this year. But the humidifiers are already in the market. We've already branched into a bunch of states with them. VPDpro.co is the website for that. And this summer, it's hard for me to believe, will be my 50th year in weed. I'm granted, I don't look like Santa Claus's dad, but I'm old enough to be him. And what cracked me up is that it didn't seem like 50 years, but even like Steve and I talking about things before we started the podcast, it didn't seem like it's over 10 years ago, yet here we are. I mean, and Steve and I tried all kinds of stuff and, and like the extraction things. What about this? What about that? What did we try this? What about this pressure, that pressure? And that level with coffee, same thing. When Jordan and I talked coffee a couple of years ago, I'm like, I'm an espresso junkie. If it's not 20 bars of pressure, I don't want instant coffee. Don't even, I'm not that guy. Yeah. I grew up in an Italian neighborhood in New York, and if it's not jet fuel, I'm not interested, so it's just.
On that note, we will have coffee grinds available to use shortly after the instant coffee. Oh, never mind. Maybe they're at the same time. Maybe I missed the lineup. So they'll both be available. So you can get it in coffee grinds or instant coffee.
Right.
I hope to get whole bean for you soon, Brendan. Maybe
the only thing I caught something you said there, which caught me, is I have bizarre allergies. You said you're making it with MCT, so I can't touch it. I'm allergic to all things coconut.
That's the one downside that we saw with MCT, and with any ingredient, you're going to have that downside. But
I know.
this product does contain coconut. So
I can
Brendan,
eat a
we'll figure
million
out
things. There's only
we'll
a few
figure
I
out
can't
something
eat with
else for you,
coconut.
buddy.
Yeah, we have a formula we can do for that. I have another one we can use.
I'm sure Steve has put up with my allergies. He knows what
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why we always use sunflower before for your stuff. I forgot about that.
But the obsession over growing better plants, regardless if they're medicinal or comestible, has been my thing. When I lived in Europe for a bunch of years, when I came back to the United States in 2001, I was just shocked at what's called food in the United States because it's,
Brutal.
I mean, there's an old Yiddish word, dreck, that fits what it is. It's dreck, it's schlock. It's just terrible. And I'm not Jewish, by the way. I just think Yiddish is hilarious. But the idea being that it's commercially mass-produced stuff, it's like giving you a robot. There's no soul. It just is. You know, it looks like a tomato, but if you cut it, it doesn't cut like a tomato or taste like one. And after having really good food in Europe for almost 7 years, and I was over there, it blew my mind. And other parts of the world I've been to, they take food seriously. They don't use glyphosate. They don't use all these things, which somehow Trump thinks is a great thing. I'm amazed that the chemicals we use in this country are illegal everywhere else. So if we can get people to understand what they're putting in their bodies and what it does and how to get better, you know, that's the war. We're all on that front and different aspects of it, but we're all in the same war, if you will, to get whether it's better medicine, better food, better quality of life, and you know, understanding that plants were here before us, and if we screw up, they'll be why we're gone. So as long as we stay focused on making things better for all, you know, as I say, the rising tide lifts all ships. I don't hide it. I don't go proprietary. I share what I learn because I learned from a lot of people along the way too. Even from, you know, in this room, you know, there's people here. Oh, that's an interesting point. Let me dig into that. Oh, that's a cool thing. Let me dig into that. I never thought of that. Oh yeah, bring that up. And we'd go deeper down those rabbit holes.
Speaking of which, we lost a legend 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Dr. Lane Ingham passed away. I mean, fuck, I don't think there's a single person in this fucking podcast or listening to this podcast that hasn't learned from that woman.
Do you remember?
She really was a huge impact on all of us. I know Dr. Faust, you knew her, I think, longer than the rest of us in terms of being in each other's orbit.
Yeah. Yeah, she even came to Hawaii and gave a seminar in Kona. Yeah, I remember that. And
yeah, I think Chris
and that
Trump
was coffee. That was coffee farmers, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh no. I mean, she was always there, you know, as far as back as I can remember. So, and that's a long ways back.
Yeah.
So
her books were on every serious grower's shelf.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, you know, her main important concept, you know, is the fact of fungal dominance
Mhm.
is the goal. And that is a crucial piece of information. I mean, you just have to understand that bacterial versus fungal dominance of the soil is the key to the whole thing. And we can measure that now. But you know, I'm an old Pennsylvania Dutchman and part Italian from Naples back in the day. My folks were there, tomato farmers on both sides of my family. But anyway, so yeah. And then the whole thing about the Roundup, I mean, that's really to save the GMO corn seed industry.
Monsanto.
It's a bigger dollar thing than the Roundup. They give the Roundup away and they're still going to make a fortune on the seed.
And what's ridiculous is the gene they used to make the Roundup Ready crops. They didn't develop that in the lab. They stole it from Jimson weed that they found on the edge of the field. Like they didn't develop shit. They just took something that nature figured out and then tried to patent it, which they should never be allowed to do. Like they didn't develop this in a lab. They fucking stole it.
Yeah, that goes back to Hawaii. Believe it or not, they were looking for. They had been using Roundup for years. Okay, they use it to ripen sugarcane, and they're using it all over the place. I mean, it's like in Hawaii, in the Hawaiian pidgin, it's soil poisoning. Hey, we go soil poisoning, yeah. And so what happened was you got resistance developing.
Yeah.
So, these researchers, or whoever, Monsanto guys, developed, somebody told them, hey, we got these weeds that are resistant showing up now after years of use. And so they used the genes from that resistant plant
Hmm.
to genetically alter about practically all the field corn that's grown in the US.
Yeah, there's no natural corn left in North America.
Yeah. So that's
You
where
could-
the
you
money
gotta-
is. It's the seed. They got them by the balls in the seed. So you
Even
can
in South
patent
America,
that.
they're being run out by that large. I can't remember the name of the variety. There's like a large jumbo variety that's been running out. Like the last 10 years has been pushing out most of the production down there. Even at
Yeah.
least it's not GMO.
And of course, the weeds is the biggest problem you're ever going to face. I mean, as an old IPM instructor and
Hmm.
practitioner, I can tell you. I mean, weeds. I was even licensed in California for weeds, believe it or not,
Hmm.
as a consultant. But that's the biggest problem on any organic farm or any farm. So farmers are going to use Roundup because it's simple, gets the results. I mean, I was fighting this in Hawaii, believe me, when I worked for Mac Farms of Hawaii, and they wanted to know what was causing the decline in macadamia trees. They had 3,000 acres of them. And, I investigated the situation. And of course, what they have to do is completely clear all vegetation underneath all these trees, thousands of acres. And they use Roundup. So you have a dead zone. So you basically under those trees and repeatedly. Okay. And there's really no much soil at all. So what's ended up happening there was they were poisoning the trees slowly. It was insane.
Killing
And
the microbiome under them, everything. Just
yeah, but I gave them the alternative. I said, let's take all this waste material and waste paper and all this stuff that you're burning and mulch it up and put that under the trees. And now you have a nice smooth surface to pick up the nuts and use your stupid leaf blowers, and you won't have a weed problem. And they did it, on 2 or 3 acres, right? And it worked. See, point is, they're going to do whatever is easiest.
yeah.
So you send some poor devil out there, to spray it. And with Roundups, it's simple, but there's still alternatives. And see, that's the other part of the story. German company, European company makes something called glufosinate ammonium. And it's a fermentation product. It's made from fermentation with bacteria, far more effective than Roundup, far more effective. And they also have their own GMO seed. See, so you have these two opposing factions. See, so somebody sold out, the EU side of this. Because I've been promoting that product, I mean, at least it's an alternative to Roundup. I mean, these guys are just too hard-headed, to give up. It's not that they don't want to give up Roundup, they don't want weeds. See, so then you have to show them something else that works. But there is a product that works. It's an alternative. I bought it the other day in a garden store. And then vinegar works great.
Wood vinegar, it's interesting. They don't use wood vinegar at all in the West, and in the East, it's everywhere. You can't go to a single Asian farm and not see wood vinegar. But in the West, it's like unheard of. And maybe you have more insight into that, Dr. Faust, as to why that happens.
Well, I'm not sure. It just depends what raw materials you have to produce the vinegar, which is basically maybe they're using sugarcane or wood alcohol or wood, I don't know, breaking down cellulose. But it's pretty easy to make vinegar. And now you can buy it like at farm stores, it's the high grade vinegar. I think I forget what percent, 30 or 40%.
30, yeah.
Yeah. And timed right, I mean, good farming practices, like I learned from my Amish neighbors growing up in Pennsylvania. Sure, they could get out early in the morning with a couple mules and get the timing right. And, they'd have perfectly clean cornfield. And they didn't need herbicides, and then they did start getting into a few herbicides at one point, but like 2,4-D, stuff like that. But so it could be done. I was with Mayan Indians in Belize that had the best looking corn that I've seen for a long time. And the only tool they had was a machete and a match and some sacks. And they'd go out there and they'd produce corn and they'd keep the seed. And I went out in that field. I'm looking at that corn. I was like, this is as good a corn as I've seen anywhere, and that's it. I mean, they're having herbicides. They harvest the corn on a sack. They carry it down the road back to the village. It's incredible. So if you have seen the beginnings of corn, like by the descendants of the people that invented corn, and their whole civilization was based on corn. And corn gods, of course. And I went to the Yumi festival in Ecuador, and that's a yearly celebration of the corn god. So how did they grow corn? I mean, I think that's an important thing to know because they were sustainable. I mean, if you compare them to us.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't been into this thing for more than 150 years, really. Not less than that, on large scale corn cultivation, monoculture. I don't think we have another 10 years. And of course, we know what happened to the Maya too, after a while, due to political pressure of maniacal, narcissistic kings that wanted to conquer other cities and used all their resources, forcing the people, to grow corn continually instead of their usual polyculture, and then stripping more forests. And then they resorted to swamps, of which they channel and use canoes. And so, it was like everything you could think till it was, that was it. It was over, It's all, it was all about the ratio between forests and cleared farmland. It's a ratio between population, how many people, and how much woods do you have to burn down? Because it takes 20 years between corn crops.
I don't know if you've noticed the 2,4-D sprayed fields and stuff tend to always have septoria and powdery mildew and always have fungal problems, especially in cannabis. The fields that I've seen that were sprayed with that, within 1 to 4 years.
Oh yeah,
always have septoria or Alterenia, one of the two. And it's like I can predict it before they even plant the damn seeds.
Sure, that's what started the whole fungicide industry, and the fungicides are the profit center of the ag chemical industry and the dealers. It's those fungicides. It's fear sells. You got to put this on every week, or these things are going to happen. So yeah, that's what it is.
Gotta consume. One of the other things I thought was really cool too, Mr. Green, you actually turned everybody on to ChatGPT like right when I think 3.0 launched, and all of us were a bit confused, and I think all of us use it daily now. And that was like, I would never forget that in your talk at one of the conferences I did. It was like having that same insight that we were just talking about of like seeing how things are going to play out beforehand. I just wanted to give you a shout out on that one.
Yeah, wow, look at what that thing's doing, huh? I just asked it some complicated, I don't know if it was complicated, but I wanted to know 100 million pennies is $1 million. I wanted to know how long if it was 4 feet high by 4 feet wide, like a cord of wood. What's a cord of wood? I think it's 8, 4 by 4 by 8. Is it? Or 12? I think it's 8. But I just wanted a 4x4. If we stacked 1,000,000 pennies, just stacked on top of each other, I mean, 100,000,000 pennies for $1,000,000. I want to start a nonprofit for special needs adults, for women with special needs that need 24-hour care. And I'd like to get a little homes with 4 or 5 of them together. And maybe, I don't know if anybody's seen the telepathy tapes or ever heard of the telepathy tapes. It's a podcast where they get into telepathy, and autistic kids and nonverbals, for the most part, they actually communicate with one another telepathically. And we obviously have that ability in us. I'm not quite tapped into it, but I know she's trying to tell me stuff, but I don't. Anyway, so 100,000,000 pennies for $1,000,000 would be 144 feet long. So a cord of wood, 144 feet long. But I didn't come up with that equation myself. I got it from chat.
Mhm.
So I was like, hey man, how, I just asked it the question, because anyway, yeah, it's 144 feet long. So start collecting your pennies, and I'll let you know when it's time to send them all in.
All
We're
right.
gonna try to get 100,000,000 pennies together and
Take
start this
nickels too, in
nonprofit.
case the Gen Zers want to get involved. You take nickels too.
Yeah, we'll take any donations. I know any donations, but I was thinking, because they just canceled the penny, like
Right.
a lot of people don't even want them anymore. So just
Yeah.
hand them over.
Hell yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Mr. Green Jeans, I don't think we've had a chance to have you introduce yourself. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody? You're another person that I hunted down. I don't even think you were growing anymore. And then you came on the show and we got you back in. And I think I now have like 200 different cultivars from you in my seed collection.
No doubt.
There he is.
I mean, I've been growing straight since, I guess, my grandmother got me into it. I was around 11 or something like that. But I lost, I got it, I just get into breeding. I mean, so, but I lost my genetics up until around, but I have stuff going back to around 1976, with cherry bomb and stuff like that. And, so I've been breeding a long time. And I used to say that I just grow to support my breeding habit, but you guys really got me into medicinal stuff, hanging out here with this podcast. And I went down that whole hole of trying to learn about making RSO and stuff like that. And then it was really early on in the early days of pressing, of people pressing rosin. And so I got a rosin press and a couple of plates and really got into that. And after doing that a few months, it was really amazing, because a friend in New York, I'd learned from that, a good friend he had contracted pancreatic cancer. He'd gotten a diagnosis, and the first thing I did was send him. We were making a kind of a tincture with dissolving the flower rosin, whole plant, whole flower rosin, in oil, and you can just ingest the drops directly. And if you press the rosin at a pretty low temperature, it's not even really decarbed, and so you can actually eat a lot that way. Like if you just dissolve it in, some kind of well, and we were using MCT oil, but for Brendan, we would probably use the olive oil, or so you can dissolve it in any kind of vegetable oil. And so I sent my friend, who had just been diagnosed with that with the pancreatic cancer, a couple of bottles of this stuff, and he was in New York, and he was eating it, and he called me up a couple days later. He's like, "Wow, can I come out?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so he came out. He stayed in the apartment in San Clemente. Um, I think the doctors had given him like 6 months or whatever when you get diagnosed with that stage 4, And but he was out. He was in San Clemente for a good 10 months, and I think the meds really kept the pain down and kept him in a good mood. He's a musician. We got to jam a lot. We made some great recordings and stuff. And And I think so then when he went back, he finally did go back to New York City. And but I think and at that point he hadn't even done any opiates and stuff like that. He'd been only on the cannabis. So I'm sure the opiates were a lot more effective, as a sort of end of life thing rather than when people start on it earlier and everything. Sorry, I didn't mean to go into this heavy stuff, but anyways, you guys got me, and it was a wonderful thing to get to hang with this friend, for that period of time. It was a great, compliment that he wanted to come out here and spend time with us. But it was thanks to, you and you guys on this crew steering me in that direction of, like I said, I used to just grow to support my breeding habit, but I really got into the sort of medicinal side of things, thanks to you guys. And yeah, man, eat raw flower rosin. It's amazing. If you, like I said, if you press it at a low, you could always just put it on something and cook it, and then of course you'll get a probably much better buzz. But if somebody's trying to use it medicinally and get a high dosage without, maybe without just passing out or whatever,
Right.
and you can use the lower temperature, sort of non-decarbed like that. And I think you can get a higher medical dose without getting knocked silly. Anyways, that's all I got to say. Thanks a lot for inviting me. Boy, great hanging out with you guys. And I can't
I
really.
can't wait to hang out with you and Pedro. I'm coming down to work this weekend. I'm going to get your number from Steven. We're going to hang out.
Oh hell yeah! I'll definitely do a group chat after the podcast too for you guys.
Yeah, I remember we went. Steve, when you were here, and we went to my friend's izakaya house. We went to the Japanese restaurant. You remember
Oh,
that?
dude, that was the best sushi I think I've ever
Wasn't
had.
it? Isn't
Except
that
maybe one time with Brendan
I
when I
know,
went out to a place, but yeah, that was
Koji's place? Yeah,
fucking so good.
yeah, that's the
I think that
joint.
was also some fish I had never eaten before there too, which was fucking dope. Which
Oh,
I
okay.
won't get into for.
Well, that place is a izakaya house. It's like, it's like all different kinds of alcohol and then lots of those small dishes and things barbecued on the charcoal and stuff like that. It's a really like authentic joint. I mean, didn't we have like strange things on skewers and stuff like that? What is
Oh no, I hooked it up. It was fucking great.
Yeah.
We also got Dutch Blooms joining us. How's it going, Dutch? I
Yay,
think half of the people on this show I know because of Josh.
yo.
Bro, I just was looking through the thumbnails as I came on, and super cool fucking guest list. Let me just say, like everyone, Brendan, fucking Mr. Green Jeans, like somehow, Steve, you're still behind the same screen, and your goatee doesn't look like it's grown any longer, but it hasn't grown any shorter.
Just
It's just
gotten
like hanging
grayer.
out at this. Yeah. No, seriously, we got Chris on here and Dr. Faust. Like, it's been a long time. Jordan River, like, I miss. It's a cool crew. Um,
I met Dr. Faust
your
at your fucking first conference in Oregon.
your show has, yeah, I know, but your show is a spawn of all that. Honestly, I did a show. We all did some shit, but like, it was a spawn of your show one way or the other. Truth be told, like you put out some really good content early on in organic cannabis, um, social media, internet. Here, like the same thing with Mr. Green Jean. Like he was like maybe the earliest on this panel that was like throwing shit down. Um, but anyways, like it's an honor to be on the show with you and honoring the 10-year reunion of this, because it's been. I always point people to this. I'm like, just spend as much time as you can on Ponics podcast, watching those shows. Started number one, and you'll learn about breeding. You'll learn about uh, aquaponics for sure, but you'll learn about soil. You'll learn about everything you really can about how to grow a cannabis plant or a vegetable plant or any other plant. Anyways, thank you guys.
Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate you coming on. We had so many out, and we were just talking about Elaine a little bit earlier, but like spending time with her and you traveling to different things. Like I think we spent, I don't know, 20 some hours in a vehicle with her traveling between point A and point B or at airports, learning from her and sucking in her info. And it was a big loss this week for all of us. And it was just a lot of that time I got to spend with her was because of you. So thanks for that.
Yeah, it was a loss, but also a good moment to honor someone who really impacted us all. You know, I'm joked up about it, but um, the way I view the natural world was deeply impacted by Elaine. You know, I honestly have to give big credit to Jack because his videos kind of like put me into the cannabis world, and my that was combined with my experience in the climbing and to understanding how the natural world works. It paired really well with hearing what Elaine had to speak and to teach, and it changed my life. And I've been able to do some things that have maybe impacted other people, and it's just kind of been this massive ripple. And I'm not saying like, you know, anyways, I'm just that was it was a big loss for us all, and but also like a good moment to realize like how a life dedicated to doing good for the earth can really like make a big splash. You know, like she wasn't doing it for money. She didn't get rich and famous or any of that. You know, like those that know her mostly, you know, through 1 or 2 degrees of separation, and the impact was huge. And so that's what I wanted to share and think about. And what's been on my heart was I was honored to spend time with her and like get to ask questions and learn. You know, I wish I had more time like that. You know, I'm actually living in Minnesota, and I feel I just have lots of feelings. You know, for the last like 6 months or so, I've been like, oh, I got to get her out here. You know, I wanted to like invite her out to do some education in Minnesota. I thought she would really enjoy that because that's where she's from. And so, anyways, thanks for bringing it up, and
Yeah.
I want to honor her. You know.
Oh yeah. I think like her and Dr. Faust, Master Cho, all these are like the people that kind of laid the foundation for like the education that we all have now. And I'm so grateful that we have Dr. Faust with us tonight because you're one of those people that has been laying the foundation for the rest of us. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge.
And you're one of those people, Steve, by the way. Like I feel like I'm in here with a bunch of real OGs and a bunch of real knowledgeable old heads. I feel like an ant among giants. But honestly, Steve, like you were the guy that when I met you early on, like you're the guy that I looked up to. You're the guy that I would come to when I didn't know a question, right? And so like I want to give you props on this 10th anniversary. Like you're carrying that tradition, you know? And I really liked what Mr. Green said too, which is like the mega farming industry and like all those people are going to do what they're going to do. And getting all worked up about it and throwing fits and arguing with people online might not be the best way to counter that. I think that Mr. Green was dead on when he said, you got to go and do your thing. They're going to do their thing. You got to go and do your thing. And Elaine did her thing, and Steve, you do your thing too, man. So yeah, I just want to say I look up to you a lot.
I know.
That's because he's taller.
Yeah, quite much taller than me, by the way.
I was hoping they could make it tonight, but they were unable to make it on. But Scotty and Dude from Dude Grows are the reason why I have this show. I was on like, I think I saw like episode like 12 or 15 or something of their show, and I was like, I should do a show like that. And I got together with Marty. Marty and I used to argue with each other, and we were the only two people that were intelligent enough to actually argue the science of what's going on in aquaponics in terms of chemistry. And then we realized we're like, wait a minute, we're the only two smart people in this fucking room. Like, let's stop arguing and like just combine forces and like put out something that was good. And that's how this whole show became to be. Was like Marty and I were both tired of people trolling us, telling us aquaponics wouldn't grow good weed, and we had like fucking fat fucking stacks of buds like that we were growing like every fucking day. And we're like, well, let's just do a podcast on it, and like let's invite people on that we want to learn from. And it spawned into this whole thing, and here we are 10 years later, like doing that. And we used to have a different format. Like I was one of the things I want to touch on today is like it's kind of learning how you go like as I go along, like how to interview people, but also like the format of the show. It used to be like a side like I used to try to do 2 interviews in a show and a panel, and that was just too much shit. Like it was too much content in one show. That was not the right format. But now it's just the interviews, and we have a separate show called Dat Smoke Show, which is like the fuck off panel where we have fun and we don't have to be serious, or we don't feel like being super sciencey that night. Like we don't have to be like we're not under pressure. Whereas now, splitting the show into 2 separate things was a much better idea in terms of the flow of the original feel of the show. And I think that that helped a lot with trying to like sort out, because sometimes too we had some panelists that were maybe not quite a good fit for the particular guest we had on the show. That maybe I'm not going to get into that in particular, but there were some issues. So splitting the show into 2 shows was definitely the way to go. And we've had a lot of people too. I want to give a shout out to Michael McShane, Frenchy Canoli, Wayne Justman, and Lane Ingham. Those are the 4 people that have been on the show that have since passed away. So I have memorial videos of all of those people. Lane's I actually have edited. I just got to upload it on Friday. But they're interviews with all the people that have passed away in a single episode. When I put together Frenchie, I'll never forget this. I was telling Josh this morning. We were talking about Elaine on the phone. Frenchie Canoli's episode came out to exactly 4 hours, 20 minutes, and 0 seconds. And it was like, he fucking did that from the grave. Like he fucking specifically recorded the right amount of minutes to make that happen. And I'm convinced until the day I die that he did that intentionally. Because it was too perfect of a thing. But there's so many little things like that on the show. Like, the connections I've made on the show. I got to go to Jamaica and Africa and Thailand and fucking all the other things that have spawned out of this. So it's been such a great journey and so much fun to show, like travel the world and fucking grow weed. Like if I told my 16-year-old self that I would be fucking having Mr. Green on the show and fucking all the people I met that are on the panel right now, I've been like, you're fucking lying. Like what drugs are you on? Because you're never going to have that life. And I've had a chance to have that life and travel the planet growing weed. And like, it's just you couldn't force a better scenario than what you just kind of create for yourselves. It's always funny when kids are like, how do I get what you do? And it's like the universe that existed for me to have my job right now does not exist anymore. Like you got to just get in there and grind in whatever market you're after and be passionate about it and learn all you can. And if you do, like the universe will take care of you,
That might, I agree with you mostly, Steve, but like most of us are where we are because we smoked some weed and got enlightened and chose a path that was slightly different than what was laid before us. And you did that big time, bro. Like that's how I met you. Was like there was a dude like I searched cannabis and aquaponics or some version of that like every 2 or 3 days for years, and just would pick up these little bits. And then all of a sudden one day there's a dude from Colorado with dread skis. He's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't know what I'm just
That's
throwing
good.
that, you know.
right? And shout out to Sylvia Bernstein for giving me a job at Aquaponic Source, where I did a lot of the initial R&D. So shout out to her. I don't know what she was an anti-gun activist or something last time I talked to her, but I don't know what she's up to these days. But and then we got Chris, you joined us. You want to introduce yourself, Chris?
Hello. Hello, I am Chris Guerrero. I host a show called The Guerrero Grow Show. It is just a show of us home growers. We it's just a place where home growers could come hang out, smoke, talk about growing, talk about anything in life. It's a comedy, it's a tragedy, it's all the above. One of my sponsors or somebody who gives me free stuff right here. BioAg right here, Dr. Faust.
Dr.
Thank you
Faust
so
founded them.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I had the best weed I grew so far this year using your products, using other products too, but mostly your products. So thank you so much.
I like
Thank
to
you.
hear it. That's the
Heck yeah,
payback.
heck yeah. So thank you so much. But yeah, my show's on Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. I've been doing it for about since 2021, right around, I want to say February 1st, right around there, or January 31st. So it's my 5 or 6 year. I'm not good with math. 5 year anniversary. Thank you. So yeah, I've been doing a home grow show. I used to be 12 hours a day. I would be doing it for. Then I was like, I gotta do it for 3 hours a day. If I had Ponics, I've had everyone in the industry on the show. I started out on a Future Cannabis Project. Now I'm doing my own show. Now I'm doing my own channel and doing it there. And I've been doing it there for a couple years. So yeah, this will be the third channel I've been on. Uh, I built two, and this is my second channel. So yeah, cannabis is hard to get subscribers if you're doing it right. If you're doing it, if you're buying subscribers, then it's doing it easy.
Hmm.
But if you go at it one at a time, I know every 1,000 subscribers that have been on my show. I know every single one of them. That's the one thing, great thing about growing slow is you get to know the community. I got to learn. I get to meet all these guys up here. I There's a couple new faces to me, but I've met Dutch, I've met Potent on here, I've met a lot of the guys on here, so I can't wait to meet them in person. But uh, we will get that done. I live in California, Sacramento, so I'm not that far away.
And you brought up another good point. A lot of the bigger YouTube channels from cannabis have been nuked. I mean, your Future Cannabis, Growers Roundtable. I could probably list off a dozen different ones that had a fuck ton of content and have been deleted. And we've only been suspended twice. We had the guy that also is named Mr. Green Jeans got mad that we had the OG Green Jeans on the show, and he got us on like a 30-day suspension. And then we had when we hosted
Which
the
he
original
happens to
Aquaponic.
actually be a pretty cool dude somehow. Like, I'm just saying, like, I've made friends with him on the back end. He's a cool dude. He cares a lot about weed. I think Mr. Green Jeans is probably
No,
connected
I
with
didn't
him.
have any trouble with him.
No, that guy's. It was. I don't even think it was either one of them. It was like the fanboys from his Instagram got in. We're fucking all
Got
but.
you.
I
Because he's
totally.
like, yeah, he's a
And
cool
then the
dude.
only
He's
other
about
one,
it.
when we had the original Aquaponic Cannabis Conference, I put the links to all of our guests in the show and immediately like almost lost my entire channel. So that was I went to Walmart at like 1 a.m. in the morning and bought as many terabyte hard drives as I could and downloaded my entire YouTube channel that night and had like a mental breakdown until it finished downloading. And then delete. That's why if you ever wonder on my channel, I only put social media links to all of our guests if they have a seed anything, because I've almost lost my channel because of that. So if you're ever wondering why we have that rule on the channel, that's why, because that was a really rough night. But just for shit like that, you learn over the time doing the podcast with cannabis. You got to be so careful because like we don't have any. I would love to have a bunch of mushroom guests on the show, but like I had an interview with well, I'm not going to mention him because I'm trying to edit it to where we can do it and you guys can see it, but there's a particular mushroom expert as well, and I'd had him on and like I tried to upload it and immediately flagged his episode, and I'm like, come on, like we don't even show anything. It's just we're talking about taxonomy and like so sometimes that can be a huge problem as well with just trying to have a conversation where we've had to not air episodes that for whatever reason keep flagging fucking YouTube. But it's a thing. Also I wanted to mention we have next week we have Luna Whitcomb on, and we also have a great episode of From the Stash coming up on Sunday with Mr. Fixit and Pigeons 420 and some of the other great guys. So check those out and support those as well in the future. What has everybody been up to? What have you been working on with your research there, Dr. Faust?
Well, I'm pretty excited about it. Well, yeah. I'm working with a fungi. You might call it a black mold, but I prefer to call it fungi. Uh, that produces these volatile VOCs. And this was actually like something that I got from the USDA because nobody else was really interested in it because it was too easy, too cheap, it's too disruptive of the biostimulant market, right? So I'm the first one to try it on cannabis. But bottom line is it produces these VOCs. Now, it's a natural soil fungi. And so if you had a good soil, well composted, and and right moisture conditions and all, it's going to be naturally present. See, so and if you go into a really rich area, rich soil, you can smell it. I mean, a real rich soil, there's a certain aroma there. Well, that's the VOCs. Okay, it's a lot more complicated than that. But anyway, in a way, it's a simple concept. You got a decomposer that's decomposing, waste materials, crop residue, and it's producing something that stimulates the plant to produce more crop residue. See, so the testing that the USDA did with it, they of course they use tobacco plants. That's the kind of standard. They were working with micropropagation of all kinds of different plants. It's USDA laboratory, Agricultural Research Service. And this is a great story. They go away on the weekend, they come back, and they got some contaminated Petri dishes with these black spots. Except the plants are about double the size of the plants that didn't have the contamination. One of those deals. Or just by serendipity, you end up with what the fuck, So it's so that's what the picture behind me is supposed to represent. But anyway. So it's a missing link. Okay, so here's what happened. Well, we did 4 years of research with this, and most of it was on the ornamental plant industry. I wasn't involved in that one. See, so bottom line, I took over this whole thing. See, so I'm the first one to try it on cannabis. Okay, so then we harvested the crop and we had a reputable lab come out here in person and sample and take back to the lab, and we have a full cannabinoid profile on controls and treated of 2 different varieties, and also the terpene profile of both of those varieties. And the results are just, well, I don't want to. Well, I can show you the results. I mean, I show you the paperwork, but bottom line, terpenes appeared in the terpene profile in the treated that did not even appear in the control. Yeah. And you don't need to send it to an expensive lab. You can just smell the difference. Okay. But we have the data down to the ppm on a whole range of terpenes that are either enhanced or they show up. They're not in the control. And it's pretty significant stuff. Plus, a 6 or 7%, sometimes 3 to 4 or 5, 6% increase in THC, and also additional cannabinoids tend to appear. So it's a pretty significant thing. Of course, they tried it on tobacco, USDA, right? Tobacco, not the kind herb. We're not doing that. So it was a 200% increase in biomass. That's published research.
200?
Wow.
200% increase in biomass.
Oh, okay.
That's
I'll
awesome.
give you my address. Send it here.
Yeah, well, and more. There's more to it. Way
Yeah.
more to it.
Well,
And
secondary
there's a whole
metabolite production. Clearly, you're
well,
stimulating. Yeah.
You know, I have a huge amount of data on this, and but I was mainly concerned with, well, we did a lot of work with tomatoes and peppers and that kind of thing, you know, and it's always a dramatic difference. And all it is I have this special canister where is growing the culture, and it's got a permeable membrane, and the VOCs come out, and you just put this little module, like a little envelope. So I might have one. It's about this big, you know, and you put that in a humidity dome or an enclosed grow situation. When you have, you know, the first seedlings come up, you know, the first true leaf, or even before, it doesn't matter. Okay. And so it's a 3 week exposure, 2 to 3 week exposure. That's it. You're done.
You've
And
turbocharged them.
yeah, for the whole growing season. See? So that's all that's necessary. And there you go. I mean, it's that simple. And but see, the thing of it is, I was in, I guess I still am, in the biostimulant, what they call biostimulants now. See, it used to be snake oil and you know, organic fertilizers. Okay, but now it's a big deal. See, all over the world, biostimulants, humic acid, fulvic acid, sea kelp, aminos, all the stuff that I sell, silicon, all that. I don't sell anymore. I'm not selling nothing anymore except for what I grow on this farm. And but anyway, um, it's a simple, cheap thing. It's like too cheap. I mean, you expose the plants for 3 weeks, and that's it. And there's published data that's absolutely impeccable. You know, some top scientists at the USDA and elsewhere. You know, and based on that and other papers, I used artificial intelligence to put it all together with chat.
Mhm.
And wow. But okay, that's great. Nobody is really impressed. Okay. But the results, I have that well documented, and I got videos on that on my YouTube channel on the actual results, showing the plants, the tests, the whole thing.
Could you bring that up?
So it's something that nobody wanted to deal with because it is patented, by the way, and we know the genetic sequence. So it's patented by the USDA, and licensed to me, as long as I can, you know, do something with it, because they never figured out how to use it,
Wow.
and I did.
You ever talk to uh Dr. Efron Cazares, who's lives near you too, not too far away?
Yeah, Corvallis. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I used to take him samples actually.
Yeah, he's a friend of the show as well, and I've had a chance to visit his place as
Oh
well.
yeah,
And everything, it was cool.
yeah. There was a mycorrhizal. Yeah, this all fits together, and it's just nature. It's how things work. My whole game was to figure out what crop limiting factors, you know, because we know the genetic potential of plants is huge. I mean, I got some pictures of cannabis plants that you won't believe. It looks like Photoshop.
Hmm.
It's not stuff I grew, but other people grew. But I also work with these giant pumpkin people here. We have this big contest every year in Oregon. And so solving that problem, like, okay, how do we get to the genetic potential? See what's missing. And I did that with crops and organic big level crops in Idaho, like potatoes and all this. They were going down the tubes, okay. And of course, the university, nobody could tell them anything. They just got to stick to the story, you know, it's more NPK and more rescue chemistry. So, you know, I figured it out. See? But bottom line, you have to consider what the limiting factors are, because the genetic potential is far greater than you can imagine. And so that's what we try to do. And so what's missing? So in hydroponics, there's a whole bunch of stuff missing. It's all the natural things that you'd find in the soil, like the VOCs and mycorrhiza, et cetera, right? Humic substances. That's a biggie. Yeah.
Healthy
Uh,
soil. Yeah.
right. So, but you can deal with it, see, in the hydroponic system, by providing a soluble organic matter in the form of fulvic acid, and then precondition the plants with VOCs, which are from a natural soil fungi, which would hemp plants are normally subjected to in the real world, and that's the kind of stuff you do. And my next step is I'm going to take water from my fish pond, and I'm building some more fish ponds when I have a greenhouse, and I'm going to build a bigger greenhouse. But I can't do too much myself, too much going on. But bottom line is, it's in the real world type indoor agriculture, or whatever you want to call it, or I don't care, outdoor. What's the difference? Like, you get the same effects with just exposure to VOCs for 3 weeks as you will from using humic acids, kelp products, name a few other things. And that's it. And I'm in the business, or was in the business. This is disruptive to that business. Believe me. I mean, so I use these things in combination. So we're looking at, okay, we're looking on synergizing the whole thing, with fulvic acid, with our full power is in this whole formula, see? And then, so you're combining things, you get synergy. So you're getting VOCs, you're getting soluble organic matter. You're trying to duplicate a soil's natural carbon profile, polyphenols, carboxyls, carbonyls. This is what gives plants resistance to diseases and insects. This is where I'm coming from. There's natural mechanisms, and this is what I've been looking at for years, because we'd see it in organic crops and using humates and stuff. We'd see no insect damage on the treated area. Large, I'm talking about acres, and then the width, hardly any visible insect damage at all. I mean, it was just obvious, right to the row. And I've been trying to figure out that ever since.
It sounds like you're stimulating a plant to create more chitinase enzyme, which sours the milk for insects. They won't.
Well, we know some of the things that are happening, and one of the main things is it's increasing sugars.
Yeah.
And of course, that makes it preferable to sheep. We found that out. They'll go right to it. And then on top of that, we're talking about a very complex biochemistry. And these are from activation of pathways, molecular pathways that tell the cells to produce substances, certain substances that have repellent effects, and pretty much turns on the resistance. So now the plant's producing, bitter terpenes or other components that are detrimental, or let's say repellent, natural defenses. They call it now. I mean, it's out in the science world in Europe more. They're talking more about preconditioning plants. In other words, pre-exposing, kind of like vaccines.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of what's happening, see, with the VOCs, with humic substances, with a lot of that kind of activity. And that was proven in laboratory testing with our fulvic acid in Germany, and Humboldt University has the biggest greenhouse complex, and they're known for their hydroponic research in northern climates. But they tested, and they're the ones that turned me on to the whole fact that the fulvic acid was activating these pathways, and which pathways they were, like the M2PK pathway and the MPK, and what that specifically does. And I'm going, oh my God, this is how this works on this insect issue. See, and then we found out a lot of people that use our products will say, or use the humic acid, not just our products, will say, yeah, I just don't have any real insect or pest problems, you know.
Mhm.
And so all we're trying to do is to get that into the system. Now, that's been lost in most soils in the US, regular commercial farming. And so, the plants go downhill. That was part of my research with the trees in Hawaii. Like, why are they going to hell? Why are they declining? It's called crop decline. I also worked on crop decline in Southern California on avocados. And I grew avocados and coffee in Hawaii. So I did a lot of my own research. But no, yeah, I figured it out. Yeah. Yeah, you bet. That's not the problem. That's never been the problem. The problem is getting people to do something, or in other words, adopt, you know,
Yeah.
move beyond their indoctrination. See,
It's,
if they're indoctrinated by the agricultural colleges and the
right.
chemical company fieldmen and the extension service, and those people, they're like doctrinaires. It's like an orthodoxy kind of a thing. That they're trying to enforce.
You try to
So
change
that's how
the
it
flavor of
is.
the Kool-Aid. They like the Kool-Aid they're drinking.
Oh
It's
yeah.
sad that
See,
people don't
they
want
got
to.
to make their nut, they got to make their nut.
Yep.
So guys like me come along, oh, they can go get the farmers a way higher yield and it makes them
Yeah.
look really bad. You know what I mean? This guy, Faust, no, he's snake oil guy. He's probably a stone or two. Yeah. So that's the problem. It's just getting the message out. So that's what I'm trying to do. But that's really the challenge. I think we have a lot of the solutions, like these weed problems and just a lot. I know we do. I was paid to work on some of these things, like the fungi that controls spider mites on strawberries better than the fungicides. I did that on 100-acre plots in Southern California for a big company that paid me to do it, a lot of money. And it worked. It was just a natural fungal spore that was sprayed in the field and it self-perpetuated. That's why they didn't like it, because turns out it's the natural control anyway. You'll find it out there when you test anyway. You'll find like maybe 10%
Dr.
infestation.
Faust, could I ask a question? It's been a long time. How you doing?
Okay.
Have you heard, I'm sure you've heard of those Kangen machines, the
Oh yeah.
pH, they'll do the electrolysis. So I came across a company that runs their, I won't really want, I think this might be open a big can of worms for you, but they make a fulvic acid product, but they run their liquid through one of those electrolysis type products, the same to the Kangen machine.
Mhm.
And then they also add a few supplemental components like molybdenum, iron, maybe a little calcium to their product. Curious about your thoughts on all that.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's more complicated than that, But anyway, no, we go for a pure fulvic acid. It has a guarantee analysis that has to be registered with the state. And we're one of only two labels that's legal in the state of Oregon or California for that matter. So then people can add the stuff they want to add. See, you can't, it's like working with a reagent. I mean, you got to know what you're starting with. Like, yeah, we know how many ppm you need of fulvic acid. And so people make their own formulas, just like I do. And then the fulvic acid is one component. But I mean, yeah, it could be a good idea to add other stuff, but is it? No, because I'm making formulas that is going to, I'm trying to, I can't I can't do math that good. I don't want to, no. And then we make a product called TM7, which has humic substances, fulvic acid, and absolutely the correct amount and ratios of 7 trace elements. See, so you have to be very precise in doing it. As far as Kangen, yeah, I know people were using that on the Big Island. And but we have our own process. We have a process that, that we use on our products that's probably has let's say similar or maybe identical effect. I mean, that's pretty difficult one to prove, but we're using vortexing technologies that are quite advanced. And because I come more from the biodynamic world. And so, I do a lot of things. I don't say it, but basically our products are like modern biodynamic preparations. They sort of
Yeah.
with updated tools. So that's where we're coming from. But yeah, a lot of these effects are similar. It's the state of water, and it has many different states. Like melted ice is a different state than, let's say, groundwater. Or, like for instance, water is so important for us to make fulvic acid. Why this is so important is the purity, because we're not going to use groundwater to make these things or do the extracts, because that may, or it absolutely does, have pesticide residues. We use vortex rainwater. It's filtered. Sure, I can't tell you what they use because it's a trade secret, but it's filtered through another natural mineral, and then a vortex process. And also the full humic, which is soluble humic and fulvic, and minerals that are naturally occurring, that's created in a vortex. That's the solubilization product, the oxidation and solubilization. So yeah, these are similar. I mean, I think you're talking about a similar idea there, or concept. At least that's what I figured out, because I did work with some guys that were doing the Kangen water, and it's an Austrian thing, if I remember right. And but yeah, I'm not a physicist. you know, I was like, okay, like Victor Schallenberger said this was a good thing, and I use vortex water in my own house, and okay, yeah,
I think that it's the same idea, right? Just adding energy back to the water. Like you can add it through the vortex. You can. Yeah, I
I
think
think
the
so.
the, the concept is just adding. This is just using plates, right? To add it
Well, the
back.
concept may be adding orgone energy, as per Wilhelm Reich. Um, and you see, water and organic matter will absorb orgone. And orgone can generate life from a sterile media, and that was proven by Wilhelm Reich. But there's in Hawaii we call it mana, or we could call it cosmic radiation. I don't know, but yeah, there's possibility that we're looking at orgone accumulation. Yeah, Reich outlined how to make an orgone accumulator, of course. But there's some basic stuff behind all these things. See, it's just like we're tuning in because science is getting better. Okay. But these old concepts are for real. I mean, I don't know why we think we're so great. Been farming the chemical rescue chemistry method for how
No,
long?
we're just catching up. Your point was 100%.
I mean, I remember, mules on our farm, where well, it wasn't me, it was when we rented it to the Amish, but they did a fine job with mules, great. See, so I remember that. I remember back in the day for sure. Um, and that's the thing, what's happening now is it's a simple thing. Less farmers, more acres. It used to be the center of like the whole economy and the culture, like here in McMinnville and just about every farming community that's high value farming.
Yeah.
And now there's just less farmers, you know.
Significantly less. Yeah.
Yeah, now everybody's got 1,000 acres or 1,200 acres. You have to, you can't even farm. It's not even economical under 600 acres. See, so he used to support a whole community, and people had their farms. Everything worked fine. You didn't need any pesticides or herbicides. They managed to do it. And so now, did this help farmers? I always say that. Well, who benefited? We have way less farmers. It's like less than 1% of the population. Like these rural communities are just about empty.
Mhm.
Now the corporate farms are taking over the big family farms, and it pushes the whole culture somewhere else, and that's all over the world. And then they get pushed into the cities. And so, was it really a good thing? And of course, now agroecologists like myself are debate the whole concept. Is agriculture a good thing, period? And of course, we can prove that people were healthier by using investigation, archaeology, DNA, whatnot. They were healthier back in the hunter-gatherer times. They're healthier, they were bigger, they were stronger. People diminished once agriculture became, politicized, or industrialized. And now we're down to like a handful of farmers on like, a whole area. But with huge equipment that'll run you off the road around here. I mean, stuff as big as a couple army tanks coming down the road. I almost had to run off the road the other day.
People don't realize how much farming has been crushed in the last couple of years, like particularly like since the war in Ukraine that spiked the price of potassium and phosphorus fertilizers for large scale farms. That's why you're seeing so many large scale ag switching now to organic slash regenerative slash microbially dominant agricultures, because the financially it makes more sense for them to switch to our methods than it does for them to continue on some of that. But what's going to be interesting is like, what are the implications of that? Like, what if happens if they like fund like a Monsanto level funding into regenerative farm? Like, yeah, that's kind of cool that someone's doing the research on it, but like they're gonna like try to patent, some GMO microbe fucking food web bullshit. Like what is the ultimate negative side of that?
I think it's already happening in large part. I mean, right?
Sure. They call that greenwash. It's greenwashing.
I wanted to give a quick shout out. Wade Laughter also was a guest on the show who's since passed away. I did forget to, somebody in chat brought that up. Rest in peace, Wade, as well. Of the people that have been on this show that we have since passed on. I wanted to make sure we shouted everybody out on the show today for that. Sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to make sure someone brought that up in chat.
Yeah. So bottom line on all this is, the whole system needs to be revamped. Well, I mean, but that doesn't usually happen. See, so in my study of history, you mentioned Tartarian, but yeah, this is such a deep thing. I mean, I don't know how far to go with this, but we're about the 7th or 8th version of the human race, Homo sapiens sapien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's actually evidence, of civilizations going back to over 1 million years, advanced civilizations, the remnants, like a cycle of Maya, creator and destructor. Now we're in the Kali Yuga, and and these things just, those people that did all the cave painting in France, beautiful paintings in the caves. I think, well, no, the story is no. These were like hunter-gatherers. They were evolving, they were the survivors.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they did better painting than they did in the medieval period.
Look at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. It's 12,000.
Well, that's a great story.
What trips me out is so many things, but
yeah,
That
So,
one
you know,
sculpture that they do, that not Michelangelo, but the other one of the Christ with the veil on top of the statue, right? So you could see
Mhm.
the body of Christ and the veil on top of it. And
The
how,
shroud.
wait. How did they sculpt the marble underneath the marble? So it's impossible. There's no way that that was done with any technique that we have to this day. And how can you sculpt marble under marble? How can you make marble transparent and then
yeah.
have the image underneath it? It's impossible. So maybe molding, or maybe there's a way that make the marble pliable. There's, who knows, but
Oh yeah,
we're
they'd
just
make it
thinking
pliable.
what it was. But they knew, they did it. It's there for us to see. So
Look at
it's
look at what the Incas did with rocks. They found a way
Yeah.
with plants to melt rock,
perfect
make it change shape,
yes.
fit
I
perfectly.
mean, it's obvious when you start digging into it. You're like, what? And how far that is the rabbit hole. That's the deepest black hole rabbit hole that there is. But like Robert was just saying, it's probably at least the eighth, or who knows how many versions. And it's infinite anyway. Maybe an infinite number, which is beautiful, but it's mind blowing.
They've,
Yeah.
they've they found human footprints in rock that shouldn't exist. That are that, you know, it,
Well, there's a story. They have a story, and that's what they enforce. You know, at universities and schools, there's a story.
Right.
And then if you get like on the real Bible Belt side, you know, it's like, you know, it's 6,800 years old, Earth, and so on. So, you
Knights of
know,
Rome are fighting dinosaurs.
they're trying to enforce the story, and that story's coming
Yeah.
apart.
It's
Yeah.
falling apart.
So, you know,
Falling
and
apart.
I doubted it myself. I mean, I took every ology in the university system and geology. Took a lot of geology. I like
Very
geology.
cool.
And yeah, so a lot of that's changed.
Yeah.
You know, unless you keep up, you know, you're still sticking to the old dogma, right?
Right.
And so then they have to die out before there's change
I
for the
guess.
next generation.
There are still flat earthers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all controlled by, we know all the publishing companies are all owned by all the people that own everything else, and they
Yeah.
all control the research. In fact, you have to buy your research. Hi, everybody. I'm Green Gas. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Friend of
absolutely.
Potence. Yeah, so it's all
Yeah.
owned, right? And it's all controlled, and you guys know it's all bullshit.
Well,
So just
that's
gotta
the
say it.
problem. That's what we need to be thinking about.
Right.
You know, how to deal with this. It's just like John Hightower. He was the commissioner of agriculture in Texas, and you know, he said a pretty wise kind of Texas thing. He's saying, well, you know, the only way you're going to have any change around here is we got to get the hogs out of the river and let it clear up, because right now the hogs have got muddied it up, and there's no change until we can get them out of the river.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's it. And then I read the prophecy of
Yep.
Saint Hildegard of Bingen in Germany. She was a archdeacon back in 1100s, but she was a prophet, and she even she had it broken down to like different eras, you know, and like the lion. And anyway, short. We're in right now is the fat black pig. Yeah, no kidding. And she wrote this stuff in like 1180 AD, you know.
Yeah.
But the fat pig, see, but then the fat pig is vanquished by the gray wolf that comes in and rescues the situation, tries to put things back to normal. So I'm waiting for the gray wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then you get a big change, you know, and then of course, who knows, you know, that's hopium, maybe.
Opium. Mhm.
Hopium. Or maybe not. We
Well,
know something's going to happen. So,
there's a collective awareness. There's those who see what's happening and those who choose not to see what's happening.
yeah.
And sadly, those who choose not to see have been chemically castrated by the food industry, so they don't have the critical thinking ability. If you've met any Gen Z kids, it's to me, it's fucking terrifying that they literally are incapable of paying attention for more than a minute. They can't do it.
I've noticed that. It blows my mind. A friend of mine's kids, like it's like they said, "You want to play this video game?" And they're saying things I don't even know what they're talking about, and they're just jumping from one thing to another. Oh man, no focus.
Well, when you have guys in their 20s who are going to doctors for Viagra because their system doesn't work enough to get, you have to say, what the fuck are you ingesting? Did it ever occur to you?
Pornography. It's an
Yeah,
addiction.
You're not supposed to have that problem until you're my age. Come on.
Well, they're getting addicted to porn sex and the pixelation, and they get turned on by that. So they're having erectile dysfunction to the level that it's a epidemic and pandemic with these younger kids. I work with people. I'm a therapist.
Right.
Don't kill me. I'm a psycho-therapist. No dash. Anyways, man, that's what I do when I'm not growing, right?
Well, that's cool.
You know what I mean, man?
Well, it's you can see a delineation in society of people who eat food at this level.
Oh, the split.
They're just they're not healthy. I mean, I'm not that I'm 60 and I talk to people and I'm out doing stuff and they, I can still do everything like I could do it 30 years ago. And I know a guy who's 38 who's always sick, always back out. Then I'm like, dude, maybe you should change your diet a little bit. Maybe try, and it blows my mind that it didn't even occur to him.
I know.
Entire generations of kids, of people in this country. And when you go to Europe, you see, they could be smoking cigarettes and drinking booze. They're still healthier than Americans.
They say that this Generation Z, this is the neurologists have figured this out, guys.
We're about to lose our Gen Z audience. Ready?
Yeah, I know. But guys, sorry.
I'm not bashing you kids.
Not bashing you guys. They say that that we have failed to educate our Gen Z more than we're educated as Gen Xers. This is the first time in history. It's a neurological problem, man. It's because of the computers.
They will live
we're plugged in.
They have no coping skills, and
that's all true. Yes, I love you guys. I'm here to help, man. But it's a reality. I have kids that are Gen Zs, and they're wonderful humans, and we read to them before they were born, in my wife's womb, because we knew it was an issue. Yeah,
you took the parenting role seriously. Most of them,
absolutely, brother. Yeah, because we you guys probably. I was a latchkey kid. Mr. Rogers and John Walton raised me. Right. Yeah, and I'm great values.
Middle kid from a big family, but I raised myself. I was pretty much feral.
The good old days.
Right. Hose water. I started working when I was 10. My dad said, I want a new shoe. He said, get a job. I never listened to him.
Bingo.
Crazy. I had my own money.
Right? I had a paper out at 11. I relate.
Yeah. I was slinging weed off my bicycle while delivering newspaper. You guys just give me the street salute. Nickel bag, dime bag, quarter pound. That was driving my little bicycle in New York.
Oh, in New York. Okay. Yeah.
Good stuff.
You get a little manila envelope.
No, it's secret handshakes and salutes across the street. The guy like, hey, yeah, and the payphone. Meet him at the payphone, drop it off, go. Nobody's, it was. We didn't know that there were male and female plants. We used to use the album covers to get the seeds off. The evolution of this learning about what goes in your body. My parents were much older when they had us. So they're from, the Depression, my parents. So they valued land and food, But I know so many people that are anywhere from 20 to 60, they don't have a frigging clue. They go to the store to buy stuff. They don't know if it's good or not. It's got the color, it must be good. They don't know what a real tomato should taste like, look like, cut like. They don't know. And they buy stuff and they go, well, it looks fresh. I go, looks till you taste it. And then you go, what is this? It's mind blowing to me, but it's a social control mechanism. It's very effective. I mean, imagine
Wouldn't
this.
you say it's true about weed too? I mean, all they smoked is a dispensary weed. Sorry.
Well, if you want the Coors Light of weed, you know where to find it. I mean, it's just that harsh reality. They're going for bargain basement cutout bin. Here's my $1 fucking joint, and there I go. If I'm going to put it in, I have to know its origins. And that's me. I've been dead twice, all kinds of surgeries. I don't take anyone's word for it. And the curiosity factor, like when Steve and I would have these discussions, we'd smell this, smell that, smell that, smell that. And I had one friend which got a really good nose. I used to call him the bloodhound because he could pick out really fine notes. Like when Dr. Faust mentioned the VOCs and things, I know that he would pick them out. If you open, he would go, that's this, and that. He should be a perfume manufacturer's nose is so good. But the idea being the effort put in, the experiments, you familiarize yourself with it. Like with green genes with the breeding, you know. You don't just go, I'm a breeder. You know, you've got this probably decades of trial and loss and stuff he's not even going to tell us that got him to the point to where now I know what most likely what this is going to be. Because even then, the odds are stacked that it's probably going to be that, but you still get, oh, what's this one? You know, oh, let's push this one now. I'm liking what this one's giving me. And you take that a couple generations, now you got something completely different. It takes the effort to recognize, to put the work in. You don't just go buy it off the bottom shelf and hope you're going to be okay.
Mr. Green Jeans, I think, is one of the only people I know that has cannabis strains that are more than like an F12.
Well,
like, like he has stuff that's been like F20 something, I think, on some of your shit. Like, it's ridiculous. But like in terms of stability, and that's something you don't see outside of agriculture much. Certainly not in the cannabis world. There's probably less than 10 people, at least that I'm aware of. And you're one of them.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes early on. I mean, you know, exactly like yeah, you would expect. Definitely a lot of trial and error. These days, I mean, I definitely, you know, advocate as much as possible progeny testing, you know, even you know, saving a number of clones from favorite you know, from I mean you know, from whatever, instead of making like putting all your eggs in one basket with each generation, you know, and getting ready to go back, you know what I mean? Taking a step ahead and getting ready to go back and say, oh yeah, okay, well that was the better one, you know, and or you know, this one crosses better than that. It's definitely worth it, particularly in the early couple generations. And I've also learned like the importance of the first choice, you know, like if you a lot of times you start with something that's like a clone of something, you don't have any of the related genetics, you know, you just got this fire clone that somebody gave you. And you know, I mean, there are times when you just have to cross it with whatever you've got because, you know, emergency situation. But if it's possible to wait a while and, you know, make that first choice with real, you know, carefully, I think that will help. I think everybody will do a lot better that way. And then be ready to step back. And that way you won't, because it is possible to kind of breed yourself into a corner, especially if you start with two things that are real different, two things that are real unrelated. You know what I mean? Like something like a hardcore indica and a landrace sativa or something like that. And you go, okay, I want to mix the qualities of these, and these things don't have a common ancestor for thousands of generations or something, you know? And so in the first couple of generations is where the sort of danger lies, you know, and you want to make sure to include everybody. And that's kind of in a nutshell, I suppose, what I've learned, like the kinds of things that I've learned early on, how not to make too many mistakes.
Isn't it ironic our goal in genetics? Sorry, just real
Yeah, no,
quick.
go,
Isn't it
yeah.
ironic our goal in genetics is to continue that diversity?
Sure,
Because that's
that's
where
what
the
I'm saying.
richness of the terpenes and right and our
Yes,
different
that,
variants in our
that's exactly what I'm
varietals.
suggesting is
And
how
yeah, how
not to,
ironic.
yeah.
Yeah, comparative to what we see in our society. Not to get on that right now, but boy, that's why we need diversity.
Yeah.
To keep our bloodlines, you
Yeah.
know, you know, heterogenetic. Yeah.
And it's there, it's all there, and you can even new things will pop out. I mean, the cannabis genome is amazingly varied. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You'll find absolutely brand new stuff that you thought you knew what was going on in both lines, and boom, and you know. So, but I just think that yeah, it is really it's important to get into an inclusive style of breeding as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Which is like that's to what I did with Cherry Bomb, was to try and move it towards a sort of not exactly open pollinated, but sort of select, semi-select open pollinated as soon as possible to include everything, and and that's I think it's a little bit trickier than some other kinds of breeding other plants where you could focus on certain traits only, you know what I mean? And I think with cannabis, it's a little bit more complicated in the sense that there's a lot of stuff to look at and see and smell and everything, and many traits to select for. And it's kind of, you've got to be more inclusive than exclusive. You know what I mean? I think one thing that like I've noticed is I think there's a difference. And then this is going to sound real weird because I don't know what just the words to describe it, but I think there's a difference between increased similarities within a line and decreased variation. I think there's a difference between those two things. So just decreasing the variation in something is not exactly the same thing as increasing similarities within the line. I don't know if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
That's the
increasing
close.
homogeneity isn't necessarily the same as decreasing
Mhm.
the first thing. Sorry, I'm stoned now.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. They're really quite different, and it's possible to create. I think I kind of got closer to it with Cherry Bomb, which is why I'm glad I've managed to get it out and around as much as possible, which was to inbreed the heck out of it, but still include a lot of the variation that it had to begin with. You know what I mean? In other words, inbreed only in the sense of never bringing any other new genetics in, just keeping it within the line and still managing to keep variation within it.
Yeah, isn't that the
Without,
trippy?
without breeding it into a corner and losing vigor. And as a matter of fact, Cherry Bomb was pretty tough. I mean, it's extremely, it's hard to kill. It's definitely not. Uh, I think the whole thing of inbreeding depression and stuff like that, I think that's with certain, I think I could see how it happened with corn and things. I mean, corn was like 13,000 years old, right? From the teosinte or whatever it comes from. And, by now. And so there were classic, I guess, stories of, that there.
Well, with cannabis, the problem with inbreeding depression is that people don't choose enough parents. And at one point, the diversity
Sure.
within the line to make some deleterious gene.
For sure.
So you have too many bad genes that take over, and that's pretty much one of the problem. But
Yes.
one thing we try to do is preserving the quality, but having enough diversity to get some healthy line in the
Yeah.
future.
I,
And one thing that people can do if they want to get something more stable for production is making some S1. They
Mm.
may they make S1 from the parent that they found similar, and they're gonna get something more stable for production. But for
yeah.
breeding, it's another story.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's, I've tried a whole bunch of different, you know, breeding plans and stuff like that, following different crosses and everything, and back crossing and inbreeding of back crossed plants and things like that. And,
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you open up those lines. I had two questions for you
yeah.
guys. Only a 7-year breeder. I'm a novice, man. I know nothing. I'm a nerd, but I'm a novice, so I'm really into this stuff. Um, Two questions. one, how do you or can we open up a line, and how do you do that after you've got it? You know what I mean? If you want to try to, can you bring that diversity back? And how would you try to if you could try to? And then the second question I had was, what do you guys think about the morphology of a plant when you could grow it under the exact same conditions, let's say, but you have two different people growing it, right? But you the exact conditions, but the difference is the energy from one person to the next. Do you believe it changes the expression of the plant?
It, it
And
depends.
I'm curious, yeah,
Depends
on
on
what your thoughts.
the strain. Some, some genetics, the more sensitive the plants are in general, I think the easier it is for people to put their individual phenotypic, effects on the plants. But I've seen certain plants and things like that that are, in strains that are so tough that it's real hard that everybody's results come out very similar. It's real hard for people to even kind of put their
Oh, wow.
phenotypical stress on those plants, just
So it
because
depends
it's so
how kind of
tough.
internal resilience they have, huh? Like
Yep.
genetic
Yeah.
resilience or something.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And then the other
Wow.
thing is about keeping the diversity. I think that if you notice, if you grow out a certain number of plants, you probably find a certain percentage of ladies, of females, say, that fit more or less the kind of thing you're looking for. So say you have 20 plants and you get about six females, well, two of them, so the whole thing is you can't be looking for, just the one plant, right? That's the kind of mistake, because what you see is hardly ever what you get, especially in the first generation of the cross. Even in the second generation, maybe even worse.
I
So,
see that when you clone things too. The clones
well,
are so much better.
so yeah, but I'm just talking about genetic. I'm talking about actual genetic recombination. You know what I mean? What
Oh,
you
okay,
what
sure.
you see is not necessarily what is going to be passed on in by the plants. And this is the reason why you have to keep a group of them. So say I had 20 females and I thought about six of them were suitable, then I think it would be a good idea to take about six of the males. Well, this now I'd have to have 40 plants. So I like to include the pollen from about the same number of males as the number of females that I think are roughly suitable for. And this isn't necessarily in every generation. This is probably from F2 on. In the first generation, man, you just got to be really lucky. No, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I just, well, I think it maybe take everything in the F1, at first cross, whatever it is, uh, take everybody, cross them again. Bring
Even the
everybody to the
early
party.
males, right?
Huh?
Even the early showing males, right? I
Yeah.
was curious
Yeah.
about
Okay.
that.
So
Yeah,
males are the best because males, they tend to swing wider than the females. So if you look at a bell curve, right, and you
like
have,
genetically speaking and their gene
yeah,
expression. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
for sure. And as well as their ability to throw whatever kinds of cool genetics. The real outliers, the real unicorns are most often males. So this is why we got to figure out how do I do. You know what? Just bring them to the party. And so you're trying to match the males kind of with the females. You got about six females. These ones are like, wow, these ones are really the ones, right?
Right,
And so, well, two of them are really the ones, but the
right,
other four are pretty good too, in a lot of maybe some
sure,
different ways. And also maybe a couple of those might be including uh, traits that not necessarily looking for, but they're just real vigorous or something like that, real strong. These are just
right on.
real impressive. Oh, great structure, whatever. You know what I mean? For bringing them in for different reasons. And the males, you're looking for the males that look like the females, that look like they would be he looks kind of like her twin, you know what I mean? And and so that
Yeah,
About
Yeah.
6 of them, but then another one who looks real weird. Like find a male that looks real strange.
The oddball, like
He's
you said,
kind of
the
off
outlier, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to come to the party too.
Yeah, the nerd with the big cock, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, he's coming to
Yeah,
the party too. Yep, he's
I've got suggested by a breeder that if you use all the winner female
yeah.
that you can find and
Yeah.
the most male possible, and make your selection only on the female, since what we're really searching on, it's what it's expressed by the female. So he was saying like unless the male get really something bad, it doesn't grow well or something like that, maybe you won't keep it, but you want to keep the most diversity from your male so that you get the most information of the background, a genetic background of your strain that gonna come from your male side.
Yeah. And they're just dusting everybody. And so each female is pollinated. I mean, you don't have to, you can always do just lower branches with females so that you get the upper parts are seedless and stuff like that. You get in with their paintbrush and stuff. You can also separate which ones crossed with which male. You know what I mean? So you can make a label down there. You can get if you're doing it with your paintbrush, you can even label which part of the branch you've pollinated, which with male number 4, which part of the branch, you know what I mean? And that's real cool because then you have the possibility again of progeny testing of jumping back a generation or whatever. Moving back. Going
Yeah, and you can find your winner male that way.
What's that?
You can find your winner male that
Yes,
way.
yes.
Yeah.
Testing the
So
By
many
comparing.
times
branch.
By comparing, sure.
I've seen great stuff happen with that because that's where you suddenly jump ahead, in one generation, and all of a sudden you've got more crazy variation and more interesting stuff, and all along in a good family way. You're expanding within the family, kind of, within the traits that varying just within like the stuff that you want. And that's where you're going to find plants that are better. Like the idea that things can't improve over generations, that's totally not true. You can improve all kinds of traits, whatever it is you're focusing on, which a lot of times these days is not necessarily going to be potency and stuff like that.
Yeah. What do
I mean,
you think of the term the synthetic breeding? I don't really I couldn't explain it to you, but does somebody here on the panel know? I'm sure we got some real experts on here. I'm just new at this, but there's a thing called synthetic breeding where they kind of they kind of introduce groups at a time of like you're talking about, but they do an open pollination, but they do it in a way where they kind of speed up the process. And as anybody know about that, that'd be great to talk about. It's a cool subject, actually.
Mr. Green needs to bow out, but I wanted to give him a quick chance to plug, anything that you got going on and want to mention. Your second book came out not that long ago.
Oh yeah, you can go to Amazon. That's on the VPN. What we were talking about earlier, the humidity and stuff.
VPD.
VPD. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Beekeeper. Anyway, no, I don't have anything to plug. Love you guys. It was good times. I got to go put my little one to sleep.
Sure.
Good to meet you, Green.
For coming, man. We really appreciate your time, and we'll get you back on for an episode here soon.
Let's do this again sometime for sure.
Yeah. Always love having you on. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight. And let us know when you get that charity launch. Let me know because we'll do a video and get everybody.
We'll get that going. That'll be fun. And I'll see Green Jeans in Pedro. We're gonna go have lunch or something, right, buddy?
Absolutely.
Hey, great to meet you, Mr. Green. My name's Dave. My name's Dave, by the way. Yeah, Dave. I'm to everybody.
Dave
yeah.
and Jack. All right, my man.
Jack, nice to meet you, brother.
Yeah, all right. Thank you all. You guys all have a great night.
Have a great night.
Keep it on, but I'm not going to be involved. I'll just keep listening to you guys a little bit, but I'm going to put her to sleep. All right.
Hell yeah.
Peace. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Appreciate it. Always fun to have Jack on. He's like I said, a really cool dude, and was become a friend of mine once we managed to find the guy.
Yeah, you're a real investigator.
Yeah, I had a well, I'm not gonna mention how I found him, but I found him. That's the important part.
He had ways of making somebody talk. He found out.
Yeah. No, he's the right amount of Google foo. You can find most people. Um, Bee Creeper, you want to introduce yourself? We haven't had a chance to do that. And Green Gas, we'll give quick intros as well.
Yeah, well, I'm beekeeper. I've been involved with organic farming and wine for about 15, 20 years. And I've did some beekeeping for another 12 years. Did my own line of bees. For all that time, I was breeding my own bees. Um, yeah, I'm on the That Smoke Show with Steve and Wes Engine and Green Gas. We have fun every Tuesday now.
Until
And
the snow season's over.
yeah, until the
Yeah, we'll go
snow
back to
season
Wednesday.
over.
We'll back to Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And
one
that's kind
thing
of
that
like
I've
that shows kind of what the panel portion of this show, the original Growing with Fishes podcast used to be. So it's more like laid back. We do like 2 to 3 hours and just kind of talk about like we definitely talk about cannabis science, cannabis news, but sometimes we'll get off on other topics and tangents and it gets less structured. Whereas the this show, which we've like not this episode, but most episodes we try to stick to like education and science, like something you can put on and learn something, right? Like I try to make this show like the get the cool people on that I want to learn from and the topics that I want to be educated on. And I happen to be blessed enough to be, you know, have access to all these awesome people. So that's the point of this show versus the Dat Smoke show, which is more like let's hang out and have like a lounge style like coffee house discussion on cannabis stuff.
yeah, that smoke
Yeah.
show is more like going around the campfire and having fun with your friends. It's more loose.
Yep. Passing a joint amongst friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Green Gas. My name's Dave. Call me either one. Um, any friend of these fellas is a friend of mine. Steve and my guy Bee Creeper. I met these wonderful guys on Instagram. Like a new grower. Very passionate about the plant. I have been growing and breeding about the same amount of time. That's how I got into breeding was by accident, those happy accidents, right? And so I don't believe there's any accidents. I'm a real spiritual cat. But anyway, I fell in love with the weed, the sweet leaf, I should say, back about the time I got my first Black Sabbath album. We sold our souls for rock and roll, and there was a song on there called Sweet Leaf. Yeah, right on, Green Jeans. Very addicting, man. You're right. And I actually ate some of my best crosses so far have come from accidents. And and I really do believe the universe wants what it wants. And I believe that the plants find us. Well, anyhow, so long story short, I became an alcoholic, rough childhood, a lot of trauma, who cares? A lot of rough times like a lot of us had as kids, like we were saying, growing up. Probably everybody in this room could exchange our pain. Nonetheless, I found a lot of relief in weed, right? And then I was an addict. My mom sent me to treatment and all this, which wasn't the case. But anyways, she was a drunk, so she thought she could fix the problem by fixing me. So off I went to treatment. I didn't smoke any weed for 29 years, and I was sober because I was became an alcoholic in the army after that, and I quit drinking and I quit everything. Right, and this is
You
back
make
in the
me want
day.
to smoke something when you say 20
Tw-
something years.
29 years. Yep. I quit smoking. And so lo and behold, I my gallbladder blows out and then my heart becomes arrhythmic and I find out I got these health problems and I can't take my sleep meds anymore and I can't take my stuff to cope, right? to deal with anxiety and shit. Well, looked at my doctor, said, what am I going to do? Right. Anyhow, so long story short, I started growing weed because I started smoking weed because I couldn't breathe anymore. I had to go for heart surgery. And they did 2 ablations where they burned the nerves off my heart so my heart would beat regularly. And I started smoking weed and I didn't want to cross state lines, right? I would never do such a thing to get medicine, allegedly. I never would. So I started growing weed, and started growing weed watching videos. And I was a professional, so I could, and it may or may not have been legal, right? Allegedly. I don't know. I can't remember when I started, right? Yeah. But, and where I might have been. And so long story short, I really appreciate you guys. I feel like a novice, and I am. And I'm always a beginner. I begin with the end in mind, and I'm also a beginner's mind, right? So as Zen says, right, we always want to start from the
Did
beginner's
you have
mind.
something you were showing us there, Dr. Faust?
So anyhow, I'm done. There's me. So I'm a friend of Steve's. Maybe not after that long diatribe. Get him out of here. But I'm from the Smoke Show, and appreciate being on there too. Thanks, guys. Great talk. Appreciate you having me. Yeah, man. Right on.
Yeah, Dr. Faust had the VOC document up, and then it went kind of sideways. So that weird look there, and what happened?
You want to put that back up, Dr. Faust? Go for
Yeah,
it.
I just tried. I tried again here, so I don't know whether it worked or not.
Here.
Can you see it?
It was showing it.
It was great before.
Yeah, maybe stop sharing and restart it again. Maybe it's gonna work well.
Yeah, just stop sharing and then redo it.
There you go. Just try sharing it again. No.
Okay, let me see. Share. Okay, there's you. There's which one was it now? Let's see. Well, anyway, yeah. Is this it? No, that's not it. No. Try that.
Yeah, we got something. Columbia terpene profile.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the work I did where I used 2 varieties, used Hawaiian auto flowering and Columbia auto flowering. I mean, I don't know much about the genetics behind these, unfortunately. I'd like to get some of the original land races from Columbia and Hawaii. It used to be the killer. I mean,
Maui Wowie from back in the day.
Oh, that and the Colombian gold, that was the shit. Yeah, I got that.
All of them.
You can't buy anything. I mean, I try all these dispensaries that buy a couple grams of this and that and this. And we got a lot of dispensaries in this town and this area. I mean, dozens and dozens. Lots of cannabis farms, but I just, I never run into anything that can beat some of this old stuff. And then I try to figure out why. What's the deal? See, terpenes. So you have the entourage effect from terpenes and more. I mean, you also have the protective. I had another slide up that shows you what these terpenes do, what the function of these. But these are the terpenes. You got to look at a terpene profile and then try to breed towards what that optimum used to be. Because like I say, we're finding once we use the VOCs, are probably a lot of things, really. I mean, not that much research has been done. But anyway, I showed that you can definitely increase the terpenes, and terpenes show up that weren't in the control. So just between the difference between the treated and the untreated. So I think the whole situation with the pest control, the fungi, the effects, a lot of it is about terpenes. And because THC is certainly not definitive. In my experience, and my experience is better than 60 years, but
it's It's a blend of
So
compounds, really. Like you said, you're stimulating secondary metabolite production, but you're doing it from what the plant used to get from the soil before we ruined it. So you're kind
yeah,
of bringing back those traits that have vanished due to bad soil.
well, that's it. I mean, it just people for years, this was just anecdotal stuff. We put good compost or humates or the whole program. My program was always a bunch of stuff too. It wasn't ever one thing. It was about synergy. And people would say, "Oh man, the flavor of these things, it all sounded like, BS when you tell people that you can make a tomato or potato or a bean or whatever, have better flavor." Okay.
Mm.
Just like the coffee. I work with coffee growers in Hawaii,
Huge.
and I worked with a young woman that bought it and started a coffee farm in Hulu, or yeah, it was Hululoa, yeah. And she won the first place in the Kuna cupping contest, which,
And
which which blew the mind of all these Japanese growers. That this girl from Minnesota won the Kona cupping contest, which is a blind taste test, of all these coffee cupping experts, Mr. Pete and all those guys. Yeah, and again, I mean,
That's
what's
awesome.
the answer? Well, we didn't know the answer. I mean, I've observed all these things, but we didn't know exactly, what caused it. It's just organic is better, kind of a thing. But yeah, but why? Well, all these things just have one thing in common is terpenes.
And wouldn't you say that
Right.
isn't it true too, doctor? Would you say that it's also true with like bacteria driving the gene expression, that if we don't have the genetic material, it doesn't matter how much bacteria and good microbial activity we have to drive the genetic expression. If you don't have the genes there, you're not going to get what you had before. And that's
Well,
why it's so crucial to really select, right?
well, yes. Well, of course, selection, but then you have epigenetics,
Right
where
on.
the
Yep.
plant can
Environment.
change its own expression. And if it doesn't have the components too, you can't
Sure.
activate these molecular pathways that do all these different things, like the communication is cut off.
Right.
I mean, this is why people are sick. Come on.
Yeah. Oh no, for
It's
sure.
like we're different than plants. No, you can't, we're cells.
Yeah.
We're all cells.
Yeah, we
And,
are.
we're all
Living
DNA
systems.
and
Living
it's
systems.
the same.
You bet. Yeah, and we're
We're
all
closer
energy.
to fungi than we are to plants
Right
as,
on.
as humans. You know?
Right. And we're all connected the same ways, right? And we're all
Yeah, it's
connected
cellular.
energetically. Yeah, we're all there.
And it's
Yeah.
about, different enzyme expression and it affects certain expression and then stress factors that create, compounds that actually increase THC. I mean, I did all that work with hemp, trying to get either the THC levels low or high just by timing foliar applications of humic substances. And we did it. And it was 40-acre field too, and test plots. And yeah, just by application of humic substances and a kind of a program, yeah, we documented all kinds of things behind that. So,
So as a foliar spray, right? Like I do that with
well, in that case, yeah.
yeah.
In the case of
Okay.
this big field of CBD hemp,
Wow.
but it's a complex thing. Like it
Sure.
can't do its thing. I mean, like we can't do our thing. We think we can make it on McDonald's hamburgers
Oh God, no.
and French fries that are grown totally with salt fertilizers and chemistry.
Mm.
And we think that we're going to be healthy with that. I mean, there's so many missing.
Oh
There's so
man.
much missing.
I yeah.
See,
I,
the
I'm
very
into nutrition quite a lot. I mean, it used
Mhm.
to be livestock nutrition. See, we care about livestock, right? Because they were worth money. So if you want to study nutrition, you study livestock nutrition because pigs are pretty much like us, except they're more valuable. So they take it seriously. And we even did research in Holland that the Dutch Institute of Swine Husbandry paid for, or paid for most of it. I paid for part of it. But that's substituting humic substances like our full power product for antibiotics. and these baby pig trials that were highly controlled, really professionally done. And yeah, we showed they didn't need the antibiotics. That's just throwing money away.
Really?
Yeah. There wasn't any
I
difference
believe it.
between the antibiotic and the humic substances, except the feed
Huh.
conversion was 20% better. So the farmer would have made more profit on that pig.
Because you wouldn't have to feed it as
Wanna-
much.
Right.
You want to tell us
Wow.
about
That's the
your
bottom line is that ratio between feed and what you sell a pig for. Yeah.
So
do you want to
sorry.
tell us about your
That's
diagram
so
here
cool.
with the terpenes?
Yeah, well, the terpenes, I was going to show another slide that describes what we're looking at here, but these all have a function, all these terpenes, and they have a smell like a pinene. It smells like pine, right? And then you got beta pinene, alpha pinene, and they all you would recognize the smell of each one of these because everybody here has smelled it.
Yep.
Like pineapple, and pinene, whatever. So yeah, they all have a subtle difference in aroma, and you can identify them. And some of these were not even in the controlled plants, and they were all grown identically in hydroponics, controlled chamber and the whole thing, and right next to each other, identical conditions. And we come up with a different set of terpenes. And you could tell
Wild.
immediately at that bag and I'm drying and curing. I said, oh man, it's perfume.
Yeah.
It's perfume. Like I'm getting a terpene. It's like perfume. And it's Colombian. So to me, whoever has this technology in the cannabis world is going to have an incredible edge over all his competitors. And I'm not bullshitting. I know it. I know that's what could happen. But, it's so far out in left field, and most people, well, it's beyond left field. It's like
It's
they
your
can't
cutting edge
compute.
science.
It just doesn't compute.
Yep.
Period. Like how can that be? Kind of a thing. Well,
Yeah, people doing
you
things
said
just
that about everything.
for decades. You just threw a curveball in the mix to show them that something can be better, but they don't understand the curveball. They can't hit it.
No, because it just seems crazy. I mean, so this smell, like kind of a earthy, like smell of the forest. So
Right.
how does that work? The plant breathes that, and then so it's a little bit versus the concept of the fertilizer companies, plant foods.
Right.
We're feeding plant these foods.
Look, hydroponics.
You don't need any mold in there. Matter of fact, we want to keep the whole damn thing sterile. I don't want black mold.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the negative against mold. That's why I don't call it mold. It's a fungi. It's a identified fungi. And it's not the only one. I'm not saying there's only one in the world. No, there's probably thousands. I don't know. I mean, they've identified not just fungi, but also bacteria that also produce stimulatory VOCs. And some trichoderma strain.
Yeah.
So it's probably a natural thing, well, it is a natural thing. It's just that obviously in modern agriculture and in hydroponics, pure hydroponics, it can't exist.
Sure.
Unless it's artificially introduced. And so I'm trying to get a grant from the fungi, future fungi awards. It's a European thing, where you come up with a new innovative use of fungal biotech, and you can get funding for research and whatnot. But Europeans are much more interested in this.
So regarding the terpenes, Dr. Faust, if I could ask you a question on this in this line. Sure. So I've been told, or I've had people hypothesize, or I've heard it, that different types of poop, essentially, depending on, whether it's fish, right, pig, chicken, back guano, right, seabird, that is what drives a lot of the that people say that drives trichome production, but it also drives that expression and these terpene expressions. What do you think of that? Is there any truth to this? Is there research? Does anybody know? Because I I want to say that I've experienced some of that by
Well, you
changing.
probably have, but there's not
Yeah.
a lot of research going
Okay.
in this subject.
Yeah.
Like I
I
say,
hope
they
I didn't
use
talk over
tobacco.
anybody.
They
Sorry.
use tobacco. Yeah, there's been a lot of research on tobacco. I could tell you all kinds of stuff by tobacco. The USDA did all the work.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great on tobacco. Maybe it'll even kill you faster. I don't,
Ah.
but see, they're not going to. We're not there. That's why I'm trying to get grants from Europe. I mean, this takes a lot of
Ah.
research. I can't.
Absolutely.
I'm limited in how many plants I can grow. But I got a
Right.
couple big licensed growers working with it. But I can't count on them.
Right.
So,
Oh, I
and
wish we had more stability
yeah,
in
because
this state.
I know how to do these things right, but boy, that's a lot of work and expense,
Yeah.
to get it to where anybody believes it, and even then they don't believe it. You can have all the
Right.
statistics and the whole thing and
Right.
perfect. No, 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 I don't go for that. I don't,
Right.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 I'm sure you haven't.
Yeah, that's that
But that's
contempt
what you're
prior
dealing with.
to investigation, right? The
Yeah.
contempt prior to investigation that Herbert Spencer quoted, right? Yeah, it keeps a man in everlasting ignorance is the contempt prior to investigation. They don't even want to hear you, right? They don't even want to listen.
No,
Sorry. Yeah, yeah.
but somebody's going to win all the contests using this shit. I'll tell you
Right.
that.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
If
Right.
if you've been at enough contests, you'll see people growing the same strains and they'll be vastly different
Yeah.
because the climate, the nutrient, everything, If
Sure.
you want consistency, you have to have everything the same each time. And I don't mean ballpark approximation. I mean literally empirical data, 85 degrees,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
73%,
RH. Yeah.
75% humidity in flower. Like,
Hmm.
and what I will do is I'll study the plant. Where did it really come from?
Right.
Where did it originate? Okay, now I know where it originated. What's the microclimate there? What's the
Sure.
soil there? What are the natural pathogens and natural beneficials in the soil there? Then
Right.
you're an expression of what the plant was like back in the day. But everything we do, I know guys that grow really well, but they'll grow a blue dream that doesn't taste like blue dream to me. You know,
Right.
it might
Yes.
look good. And a lot of these guys will grow stuff that
Oh,
looks good in a jar. And so you
right.
crack it open, you go, what the fuck is that funky? And then
Oh my God. I had one that tasted like cotton balls recently. I was like, oh God.
Oh yeah, big
Somebody
time.
sent me. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And it was from Hawaii.
well, just because it's
Yeah.
from Hawaii, just like some certain color
Well, they're ruined. They ruined it. It's just like the
I know.
Jamaican crop, the
Yeah.
Hawaiian crop. It used to be big, tall,
Mm.
so-called sativas, and they'd be 10 feet, 12 feet,
Right.
Yeah.
and then doing the green harvest, and when they plant in sugarcane fields and in different locations, they were easily spotted by helicopters. So then everybody went to these shorter varieties,
Right
Hawaiian
on.
seed, the Dutch seed. And the Jamaicans did that too, and the Hawaiians, and me even. But um, that ruined it. See,
Mm.
that just ruined the whole, terroir, of what used to be, Colombian gold, Kona, Maui Wowie, whatever. It was hand selected over many, many, many decades and years
Right on.
and adapted, see, to
Sure.
that
Cultivated.
particular thing,
Cultivated. Hmm.
epigenetics.
But the soil
Okay,
content,
and then selected over and over and over. I mean, that's the history of cannabis. So that's the seed I want to expose to, VOCs to.
so I,
Uh, and but that's I don't know much about plant breeding, but other than outside of hunter-gatherer, methods, it's just you plant your best seed,
yeah.
whatever trait it is. Just select that. It goes on for generations and generations. But
I like what I'm hearing.
yeah,
I really do.
it's we can do some stuff now because yeah, what people are growing now isn't consistent. See, because they don't know what they're doing exactly. See, and it's complicated. I mean, you can pin it all down with DNA testing, just like we do with the fungi, or bacteria, or anything, and then determine like, okay, let's keep doing these terpene tests and do taste testing like we do with coffee and all kinds of other
Yeah.
stuff, you know,
Right.
and then select based on that, and then once I
Yep.
figure out, what's going on with different strains, like for instance, there's different things happened with terpenes between the Hawaiian and the Colombian strain. Yeah, but they both, beat the controls by a whole bunch. And then some of the THC levels are almost, like 50% higher. Of course, the yield was a lot higher too. I didn't talk about that, but yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm looking for the quality. I enjoy it. I want the good stuff. Again.
Right. Weed should
But
taste good, fellas.
and that's what
Yes.
everybody's looking for.
Yes, it
See?
should. As a
Indeed.
home grower, I
Amen,
don't
brother.
care for how much THC is in it because I can smoke more. I'm not subjected
Right.
to what the best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
I want weed should be loud. I want it to be loud and proud. If it's
Yep.
supposed to
And it
taste
can
like
be,
pencil
you can grow it
shaving,
like that. You can
yeah,
grow it like that.
yeah.
Yes, you
If it's supposed
can.
to taste like pencil shavings, it's supposed to taste like church.
Whoo,
Is it
haze,
supposed to?
baby.
Yeah, if it's supposed to taste like gas, whatever it's supposed to
Lemon
taste like, I
pledge,
want it to be
baby.
loud.
Haze,
Yeah.
lemon haze, baby, right
Yeah.
here.
See, that's
Boom.
what it all boils down to. It's just like coffee.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Yeah.
right.
do we care about what the caffeine content is versus the,
You know,
I'll drink more.
flavor?
a good
Yeah,
flavor.
you just drink a bigger cup.
Right, but what do you want? Do you want a gallon of sock juice or 2 ounces of fantastic? Like it comes down to what's your personal taste? What do you appreciate?
I
Yeah.
worked at a cafe for about 5 or 6 years at the beginning of my working career. So I really got to know coffee a lot, a lot. I was at the main office, main place. So the guy that owned the place would come down. It's a local place called Lebu here, Le Bourgeois. It's the guy's Vietnamese, and he schooled in France, and he's an engineer, and he came down here, opened up his own coffee chain, and then Starbucks. And the Pantera, what's the Panera took over, kind of put him out of business down there. So yes, uh, uh, so I love, love coffee. So when you were talking about coffee earlier, I would have really loved to have tried it because I would have been the person to try it
Yeah,
and
you
tell
want
you how
some
it is.
infused coffee, right?
Yes, I would have tried it and told you how it was, gave you my honest opinion, how good it was.
Jordan said
You,
it's coming out next week, so stay in touch with Steve and we'll get you.
Oh yeah,
they're also, we
he knows
lack a
where I'm
data.
at.
Sorry. We lack a, good to see you, Chris.
Yeah, yeah, it's good to see you too.
We lack a database, right? Of a collect. I know we have them, but we lack a network, or let's say at least knowledge of where all. I mean, yes, we can AI everything, but that's all. That's not what I mean. We know that you guys know that shit's all controlled by people. I'm not trying to conspiratorialize this shit, but the truth is, I think we need a grower-driven database. No bullshit where you know what I'm saying, where there's no fucking profit motive there except for profiting the plant, forwarding the plant, right? The science of the plant, the genetics, right? The health benefits, where we have information about, like, let's say manic depressive disorder, right? Bipolar disorder, or back pain, right? Or sleep disorders. These are the terpenes, but and even specifically, these are strains. that you need to look for, right? And you're right. You guys know what I mean?
Dave,
You
it's
know?
not that direct because the implication there is that there's
Right. I know where
one
you're going.
body chemistry for one type of treatment.
No, that's very true. And good point, man. Just sorry to make it oversimplified. Excellent point. That's a great point too, is those could be in the matrix somewhere, right?
Once you go into the rabbit hole, right?
Right.
Now
Right.
we're gonna have our fields, we're data field mapping of the specific traits. And
Truth.
we'd have to cross-reference that to a
Yeah.
human genetic
Right.
phenotype expression as to what, for example, a body chemistry type person, type 1 is
Right.
type 2, type 3, type 4. And
True.
there's someone in Toronto, Canada doing that right now.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And what he said with it,
Wow.
they do a DNA test that says you should focus if these are the effects you're looking for, someone
Right.
with your body chemistry should be looking at these strains.
What? Dude, oh my God, I'd love to know. I'd love to read about that. That's where I was headed myself. Oh my gosh.
One of the
Wow.
One of the investors in that project was a UFC fighter I used to know who has since died of liver cancer.
I'm sorry.
But the scientist behind it is a guy that I know, and he
Very cool.
he's got the same level of OCD that Steve and I have when we get in stuff.
Yeah.
So he won't let go of that bone. He's going to keep going with it.
Sweet. If he ever needs anybody in this, in the States, in this, at least in the Midwest, man, I'd love to.
Well, the
somehow,
idea being that doesn't matter where you are, if you had this database and we were all contributing to it,
yeah,
somebody has to filter the data to see is
right.
this legit? Oh, this is legit. This is proper.
Right.
And then
True.
how does it play into what you're trying to get towards?
Yeah.
Because
excellent.
I'm a nerd that develops systems and does stuff like that. Steve's done plenty of things like that. And when you start doing it, it sounds like a great idea to realize how many parts there are to it.
You're right. And moving parts start getting complicated. Yeah, no shit.
Well, one of the key green gas to what you say for trying to identify what would be good for, let's say, depression or something like that. It's really about breathing. If you really understand well breathing, you can select exactly what you're gonna favor for that.
Absolutely. For instance, you guys probably are familiar with CBG, right? Cannabigerol. Right, of course, right? And we know the white strains tend to carry much more cannabigerol, upwards of 1% is considered high to some people, right? I have been studying cannabigerol for a while because I'm a mental health guy, right? So we know that cannabigerol reduces inflammation. Among other things, it's the base, right? It's the base cannabinoid, right, for the entire plant, in terms of cannabinoids. And other things are built off of that, but also that it reduces inflammation. Really importantly, they found research. The University of Minnesota, I was at conferences where they talked about the effect of inflammation on mental health symptoms, right? Bipolar disorder, ADD, which includes hyperactivity disorder, bipolar disorder, PTSD, right? The symptoms as inflammation, which means the tissue, right? The brain tissue as it inflames in the amygdala and all the rest of the brain tissue, the neural tissue, right? When it inflames, our symptoms go to the roof, right? Now, what's interesting about CBG is that if you have the higher the cannabigerol, what it does is it reduces all the inflammation in the body and the brain.
Well, it can cross the blood-brain barrier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That as well. When you're smoking it, it'll cross the blood-brain barrier. Exactly. So fast, right? Boom. And that's another thing is like the delivery method. That's a whole nother matrix, right? You smoking flour, right? Are you smoking it? Are you vaporizing the flour? Are you eating the flour after you've cooked it in an edible? Right? Are you using hash? Right? Are you using concentrates? Are you using BHO? Are you using water? Contrived hash, right? Are you squishing it, right? What temperature, all that stuff, right? So it gets, and then, what burns off, how much is left? I mean, like you said, it's just endless rabbit hole. But I think we could say, right, with some kind of, I like you're saying, that's like CBG. How they found that out was they researched it, right? But like you're telling me, it's got to be something people are interested in.
But let's
I think
just
the,
say 15 years ago, they thought there was 30 cannabinoids.
right on.
There's over 200 as of last time I looked,
Yes,
And
yes.
and as Dr. Faust explained, when you trigger certain things, they produce cannabinoids that we didn't know they could.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
affects the nose, that affects the flavor, affects the synergistic effect. What
absolutely.
would you get? And if you were to take those two plants, grown the control that was the standard plant and the modified one, and you
Yes.
had people smoke them, they would
Right.
have to report as to what the effect difference was.
Right.
Because then we would have some sort of baseline understanding.
Database. Yeah, to say that this is different and therefore they felt this differently. That's fucking awesome.
So
That's what we need, man.
But again, you have the passion to be the bus driver of a project like that. The idea is just get your data fields down. What are you trying to track and why?
Yeah, be very intentional.
Right, because he can show you that he can get bigger yields, better plants with more compounds. But
Sure.
what do
Yeah.
those compounds do
Do
in
you,
reference to
do you
the
see the my screen share right now? Does
No,
anybody?
it fell off again. It went to that weird thing. I think it
Go ahead.
times out
Go
on
ahead.
you.
Yeah, reshare it. It
Yeah.
should work.
Oh, okay.
I
It
think
was
I
working
think
for a
I
while
think
and
a
then it just
gnome got a hold of it. A gnome
Oh,
got a
yeah.
hold of it.
Let's see. Where is that?
We need to be able to get the tool for measuring the compound that we're going for.
There you go.
Yeah, but
Okay.
Now
also
we can see it.
the
So these are the three that showed up, that
Nice.
didn't show up in the controls,
Oh,
or were enhanced, one of the two. Beta-pinene and terpinolene, known for their antimicrobial properties, help plants fend off pests and pathogens, reduce the need for chemical pesticides. For consumers, they offer antioxidant and potential anti-inflammatory benefits.
Mm.
And then
true statements.
myrcene went way up. This terpene is praised
Mm,
for its sedative and
Yeah.
analgesic properties, enhancing the
yeah.
calming effects of cannabis and potentially aiding in pain relief and improved sleep. Yes. And then beta
Terophyllene?
carothiolene.
Yep.
Uniquely, this terpene
Mhm.
interacts with cannabinoid receptors, offering anti-inflammatory and analgesic effects, contributing to the entourage effect and enhances
Yep.
the overall efficacy of cannabis. So this is where it's at.
If you
You know,
had
Exactly.
if you had the
and
beta
this is just the ones that are that are appearing. I was trying to find the actual lab work to show you. I mean, there's a whole bunch of terpenes. I mean, there's
So can I
a couple
ask you
dozen,
what
right?
what Voca Grow is? I apologize. I missed that
Oh.
conversation.
Oh, that's just what I call it. Just the brand name, Boca Grow.
Oh, okay. So
VOC.
introducing fungicide, like you're saying, fungi and other microbial microbes.
Only.
It
Only. This
changes
is
all
one
this.
thing only. This is one specific
Oh,
microorganism. It's not a
oh,
combination.
okay.
It's pure. It's
Oh, sorry.
identified by DNA
it's
and amino
Oh,
acids.
he found
oh,
something which triggers all these effects.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that part of the
It's
conversation. Awesome.
Cryptolemus spirifernum, TOC9. That's the strain.
Oh, now I see it up at the top. I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, um,
Wow.
like
So
I
it's a
say, yeah,
fungi. It's a
it's
fungi, huh?
a
Sure.
cladosporium. It's TCO06. Okay, so they call it TCO6.
Sure.
The USDA developed it. They own it.
Right on. Right
Uh,
on.
Cladosporum
Mhm.
spherosphenum strain TCO6.
Sometimes fast.
Some of
Right on.
these, the same microorganisms, different strain has a negative effect on plant growth. See,
Wow.
so that's
Right.
why you can't just throw shit together and see what
Right.
sticks on the wall. You know,
Wow.
see, people are afraid. Oh, fungi! I
40%.
got to spray fungicide. See, and what a lot of people end up doing with all these fungicides is they suppress these organisms
Yeah.
that are naturally occurring in the soil. They don't know what the
Wow.
fuck they're doing. Then they end up starting the whole pesticide cycle. See, so then you have to spray and pray like a couple times a week.
Wow.
See, but
This,
it all takes, you destroy the defense mechanisms of the plant. But that's good.
yeah.
That's good business, man.
Uh,
They make that's their big profit center of all these ag chem retailers and is fungicides.
wow. This white
And
paper is
it creates
incredible.
another problem. It creates a whole range of problems. It goes right up the food chain.
Yeah, when you apply fungicide, you kill everything, even what's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm reading
and
this.
this, I'll
It's
tell you this,
crazy.
I'll give you a hint. This particular strain, uh, there's a scientific paper, Cladosporium cerosporium. This was tested in the International Space Station. Yeah, and you know what? When exposed to high levels of radiation, like in space, it was like 200 to 300% increased growth.
Wow.
And they found that since it produces so much melanin, that it's protective against radiation
No
Oh,
kidding.
by
Wild.
what seems a complex method. But yeah, there's a paper published. I
Like
have it. You can
like
see it.
darker skin in a human being because they have higher melanin, correct? Is it
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
compound?
right.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, it
So
gets
the
deeper than that. What's the color of humic acids or humates?
dark, black,
And
like black.
what produces them?
Well, plant material,
A
right? It's
fungi,
a fungi. Okay.
only a fungi or groups of fungi.
Okay.
See, they were back to Elaine Ingram.
In the specific pH
Fungal dominance,
environment.
fungal dominance. That falls apart. The whole thing falls apart. See,
Wow.
then I've taken that a whole bunch farther. It's what are we going to do about it? Of course, that's always been my job is what are we going to do about it?
Right.
Not just talking about it. I'm not an academic. Matter of fact, I'm probably an academic
Well,
black sheep, just like my ancestor, Dr. Faust was.
this
But
40% increase, Dr. Faust, that's the yield, that's usable yield. That's with anything you spray it on, right?
well, pretty much.
This
It's
I
only
mean, you haven't
it's a
tested it on
14-day.
anything,
There's
but
no spraying involved. It's a 14-day exposure to VOCs.
oh,
14 to 21-day exposure
I didn't know if it was a pour in or if it
in the
was a
growth
water
stage.
in or
No, see, this is
okay.
why it's so outside the box. See,
he had
in
a
other
little
words,
pouch. Just put down.
yeah,
What's a little pouch and the fungi just populate. Okay.
yeah, about
Cool.
this size. I could show you that
Wow.
whole thing. I probably have one laying around, but this would do
Man,
100 plants.
I
So,
want one of those. How do I get that? Buy it? Can I buy them? Make them? I don't know.
Well,
well, you can
probably
try to
gonna
make
make
it. You can try to make it and get sued by the USDA. Sure, that'll work. If
Well,
you can figure
I
it
didn't
out.
know if this was
If
no,
you're
I
a
didn't know.
microbiologist. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize that was an FDA product, but I'm wondering like is there a natural because I'm learning KNF. Is there a natural like I just bought a basket to collect, geez, IMOs, right?
Well, I
Uh,
sell it for research for experimental use only.
well, yeah, I mean I would love to do some experiments with it.
Yeah, it's experimental.
Sure. Well, yeah,
Otherwise,
I have a business name too. It goes under, so I can write it off even. So I'd love to do that. Yeah. I have a
sure,
wellness company.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
for
These
real.
people ought to put their 25% R&D tax credit into researching this.
For real.
So I can have some numbers. So
No doubt.
some commercial guys, some big guys in California are using it right now on experimental basis.
It
So
would be
if
awesome to
anybody
do.
catches on to this and they're a
Okay.
good entrepreneur, which I'm done with business and selling shit and being an entrepreneur, but somebody's going to come along and get the right idea about this. And I know what the
Well,
right idea is. That's how if I was in the cannabis business today, retail or wholesale, I'd be a killer, you know.
Hell
But
yeah, you
but
would.
that's not
yeah,
my
brother.
that's not what
Well, I
we
mean,
do.
you got some young bucks here, man. I mean, I'd be interested in talking to you about it for real.
Well, we can talk separately then about that.
Yeah, I would be. Because
Hell
I'm
yeah.
kind of because I'm 57 and I'm
Because
kind of
I'm not
getting
really
tired
here to
of
sell anything. See,
no, but I'm just
Spring
nerdy
chicken
enough.
you are.
and I'm a sales guy. I used to sell insurance. I
Well,
did pretty well at it. So.
well, if you can sell insurance, you can sell anything. That's an old saying.
Exactly.
in
And I was
business.
honest. I never lied either. I fucking told the truth, and people
That's
love
why
me
you're
for
an
it.
ex-insurance salesman.
That's exactly right, my brother. When I figured out what the hell, how crooked they were, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah,
Really?
it's exactly what happened, Brendan. You know it, brother. Exactly. And my boss was a total crook. So yeah.
Well, there's an interesting thing about I was talking to a guy, an English guy, and he's talking, and I'm telling him about all these products, and he says, "Oh, mate, you're a lime salesman." And I said, "What? What do you mean?"
A lime salesman,
A
huh?
lime salesman. He said, "Oh, well, a guy that sells kind of mundane things like lime, like lime for on fields. A lime
Yeah.
salesman. Everybody's got lime. Everybody's,
Right.
be a lime salesman. It's sort of a like super salesman. If you're going to sell lime or insurance, you can sell anything.
Oh, right.
You know.
I got you. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah,
So
like
if you can
lime you
sell
put on
this
the
shit,
ground.
you can sell anything.
Right?
But
Well,
yeah, I mean, so
yeah,
that's a discussion that we could have
for sure. I'd love to
about
talk about that.
experimental cooperation as a
Right?
co-op. You have to qualify for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out. For sure. I'd love
because
to talk more.
but the thing of it is, I hope to put cannabis back to kind of what it used to be
That'd be
in terms of
awesome.
quality and flavor, just like I did with Kona coffee and other things.
Right?
Hell yeah. Love
Even
Kona
potatoes
coffee.
in Idaho. But
Yeah. Well, yeah.
because I grow all these things myself, I'm not just talking from.
Yep.
I'm reading this from the Bible and it's orthodoxy or it's the
Right.
gospel. No, this is stuff that
You know is
that
real.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't just talk about it. I do it all. You want to come see it? I do
Yeah.
it, all this stuff.
Well, the cool thing
It's
is,
real. I don't rely on.
yeah.
I do rely on academia because they spend millions on doing research, and then they don't do anything with it. See, they don't get into the applied side,
Right.
but yet all that million-dollar, multi-million-dollar research is available to me for free. And so I program myself with this research from all over the world in these different subjects, and then put it together into a practical application.
For
That's
an
cool.
So
actual
it's like free. It's free. Then I stick it into and summarize the whole thing in Chat GPT and get the essence out of it. But I've been doing this before they even had computers.
Right. Well, that's
Because there's so much
yeah.
good stuff that was ignored. That's why there's so much good stuff out there
Right.
for a long, long time, like biodynamics, like orgone theory, like
Yeah.
humic substances.
Oh man.
You
Do
got
you
to
really want
understand it's all about humus, and that's what this world better figure out. They don't have 10 years left. See, that's the bottom line. Forget cannabis and all this. I'm not going to forget cannabis, but because we are in
right.
perilous times, and this is the only
Right.
way I can get through it. But
Uh-huh. Yeah, you haven't seen me smoking joint after joint. That's what I'm doing
how
right
about
now.
this?
Hey man, brother, I'm about to do a dab too. So yeah, I hear you. That's why I work from home. I ain't gonna lie. You know?
So
So
we
Dr.
got to look at.
Faust,
I think cannabis people could lead the charge.
yeah,
In
Dr. Faust, I
innovation.
got
It's
some
already happened.
questions.
It's already happened.
I
So
got
Yeah,
some
for
questions
sure.
for you. You've noted that many modern soils are bacterial dominant due to tillage and chemicals. What are the first three steps a grower should take to shift towards fungal dominance necessary for perennial health?
Ooh,
mhm.
good one. Good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Matter of fact, you can go to my YouTube channel and see the research I did in actual field crop in Oregon, where I took a soil that was incredibly compacted, over farmed for years, growing grass seed, dump nitrates on it forever, and then turned that into a split plot situation. And then we did much more advanced testing. Well, since then we have, but actually used Elaine Ingram's lab in Corvallis and submitted soil samples from the treated and untreated and we're using humic substances and mycorrhizal fungi inoculations and that kind of stuff. And we saw a definite in one season, big time. You can see all the numbers on that showed really massive increase in fungal dominance. Just turned it around. And not only that, and we did this in a greenhouse in pots too. And so the soil, when we dumped it out of the pots, the untreated came out like a brick. It was literally a brick. The other one just crumbled out.
Yep.
And I have them lined up to show that. But not only did we show fungal dominance back, we also showed soil structure. Now you keep that going and you'll start seeing earthworms. And that's the final goal is the earthworms. So if you don't have earthworms, you're not there.
No.
All right.
But that's all really important stuff. But also you have to have the cation and the pH balanced.
Yeah.
Or that isn't going to work. We also limed. So remineralization is a part of this. Like using steel slag, lime, crushed coral, lots of different things if you need it. I mean, in other words, we look at a lot of stuff. We're looking at the cation balance. But and we got to get the mineral balance, cations, the potassium, calcium, sodium, just like hydroponics.
They don't lock out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the pH. Correct. So that's the first step. Then the second step is bringing back the fungal dominance. And we used to do that all in one big shot, where you do it depends where you are. Here it's lime. When I was doing all this work in southern Idaho, it was sulfur that we got from volcanic fumaroles in Utah. So
sure, and it depends on the soil, right? Clay or if it's sand, right?
I do extensive testing. We do extent. That's the thing. I don't guess. That was my niche. Truth was my niche against the big boys. I was competing against the big farm service companies.
Sure.
And results was my product, not promises.
Right, like adding calcium to clay, you're going to unlock it.
It's not a one size fits all, right? What's the soil actually telling you where you're at?
And then we monitor through the whole growing season with leaf analysis and foliar analysis. So and if something went off, we catch it with a foliar. So it's
Speaking of foliar, I got another question for you. Seeing how I got you here, under what specific environmental conditions do you find foliar feeding of fulvic acid to be more effective than the standard soil drench?
Well, it is more effective pound for pound, the foliar, because fulvic acid is a low molecular weight, is absorbed directly through your skin, through a leaf, through the root system. It's very, the pH is right, at least ours is.
There's another point there. A foliar spray. Think of it this way. Plant roots are 10 to 20% absorptive, but plant tissue above ground is 90 to 95% absorptive. So if you're doing a foliar spray with the right products, you're getting the nutrients right where the plant's going to use it. It's not wasting energy and turgor pressure to bring it up to the top.
No, and it's fast.
Yeah, it's direct. It's chunky, direct hit.
The biggest, fastest response I've ever seen in cannabis was when I combined the amino acid product with fulvic acid.
Yep.
Wham, just a light misting, and boy, oh boy. This guy from OSU, Oregon State University, he came to me one day and he said, I tried your product, TM7. And that's a humic and fulvic with trace elements. He said, I could see results in 30 minutes. And I didn't believe him. I was like, oh, okay. And, he kind of realized.
The leaves actually straighten out and go like this?
Yeah. So we went out to a vineyard there. Well, I had grapes myself. So this is, we're in the, wine district of Oregon. So we did, and he used the CO2 as a propellant. Okay, not just to pump up air, right? Pressurizing the sprayer with CO2 and then making a solution and buffering the pH using the TM7, right? 30 minutes, yeah. You'd see the leaves go from this to that.
Yep.
That quick. CO2 driving it, carbonated water.
Well,
What's the plant food? CO2, right?
yeah. I mean,
It pulls those trace elements and the fulvic acid right in.
it's like mainlining it essentially.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we're talking about a pint per acre. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, all these strawberries and organic stuff in Salinas Valley, they use in our product
Mm.
because, okay, if you want to use it on the ground, you're talking maybe a couple gallons, really, versus, a pint as a foliar. So that it makes it more practical. But I was involved in lots of foliar operations for sure. I mean, I'm a pilot myself, so I mean, we were using a lot of aerial application.
Your crop dusting.
Well, we weren't using dust, but yeah,
Right.
spraying, right? But that's after monitoring the crop. And you're talking about center pivots, 160 acres per field.
Yeah.
So to get over it fast, you have to use
Fogger.
aerial application. Of course, now they got drones.
Yeah.
They work great. So it makes it even more practical. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have fulvic acid, that's probably the biggest missing link in humans, animals, plants, because it used to be plentiful in the environment. And it's exempt by EPA on all foods, everything. So it's the one biostimulant. It has no impact, no environmental, no toxicity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, if people just knew that, they'd save a lot of money. But again, the big boys are selling this stuff now. I can tell you that. It's gone from snake oil into the big corporate ag chem, but of course they're not using it right, but they are using it. So I see that as a kind of a breakthrough. Maybe there's hope. But what's happening is farmers aren't their kids aren't farming anymore.
Have you done anything where you added like 0.1% of strontium to your mix to see how much better plants uptake calcium?
That'd be pretty involved. I mean, I'm for specifically solving problems. Now, if I saw scientific literature where a guy spent a couple $1 million, I'd analyze that piece of literature. I'd find it. I'd look for that.
Okay.
And if I'd find it, and I would go through all the literature, see what everybody else did. Is this even going to work?
Mm.
What did they do? Somebody already spent a couple $1 million. The Chinese probably did. I get a lot of my stuff from the Chinese. And that's how I handle those kind of things. And then I'll put together an experiment. But, you got to be realistic when you're just me. I'm not supported by anything, by anybody or any institution. So
Just your natural curiosity.
yeah. And I focus down on certain things, that are going to be the real thing and not just hopium.
Yeah.
Results. That's all I care about. But it has to be ecological to be economical. So that's my message, and I think all the ingredients are already out there, and I think there's a lot of people that know the story too, and it's just getting the story out. And I don't think we have time, but maybe, but I don't think so. I think we're looking at maybe a restart at some point. So, and people ask me, well, who do you think will survive that? I said, well, it's obviously who's going to survive it. I can tell you who's going to survive it. People like the Hutterites, people like the Amish, people like the Mennonites.
The people that are
like Native Americans.
Well, the people that are in Tierra del Fuego in southern Argentina who aren't in the northern hemisphere when it all goes to hell.
Yeah, the people that I studied down in Ecuador in the high Andes that grow 35 varieties of potatoes.
Yep.
One of the best potato growers I've ever seen. So people that are doing it now are the ones that are going to survive. And they're organized. Like I work a little bit with the Hutterites up in Canada. They're super organized. Super organized. Oh, I ought to put up my Hawaiian values. I'll show you what it takes for a society, a proven sustainable society, what they believed in and what the precepts of that society were. And if we would follow that, that would be the answer.
Yeah.
But that's probably not going to happen. But I can show you that. It boils down to a few sentences of concepts. And once those concepts are actually actualized, well, of course, forget it. We're just talking philosophy now, but this is something that existed that was destroyed by Western colonization, but it's still in the hearts of the people. But let me see if I can get that one up. Let's see. But see, that's a big question I'm always getting too about sustainability. Like what's really sustainability? Well, how can we measure sustainability? Well, we can look at societies that were sustainable. And okay, here we go. Right. So keep in mind, you've probably heard some of these terms before, like aloha. Oh, I don't see it now. Uh-oh. Anyway, yeah. No, I've gotten the wrong sharing here. But you see, you have to work together. Like they have concepts where we have to respect life, and you have to, they call the aina, and
Life.
manage.
Yeah.
It's more of a holistic
Yeah.
way of thinking. Ours is an exploitative thinking. So Hawaii went from a place that could support a large population with no contact with the rest of the world sustainably for 1,500 years.
Yeah.
And then white man comes in and starts raising pineapples and pollutes the groundwater.
Yeah.
And destroys the soil with sugarcane production and the whole thing down the tubes to where islands like Hawaii and Puerto Rico, Cuba, Jamaica can't feed themselves. Import 78% of their food. So we already went from sustainable to non-sustainable. So the only way to get to sustainable is take the example of what was sustainable. But of course, I think that's impossible.
Well, chemical farming has not done us any favors, essentially.
No.
Well, given your research on humates as chelators, how effective is fulvic acid at removing heavy metals from the body without stripping the essential minerals?
Well, that's what that's what started the whole thing for me. Is when I met a guy named he's a doctor, a German doctor, who because I was selling fulvic acid on the internet, 30, 40, I don't know how many years ago. But he came to Dr. Shermer, and not the doctor, TV Dr. Shermer, another. But he was treating kids in Mexico that had ingested lead from the environment, eating paint, that kind of thing. And they were totally unresponsive. They were autistic to the extreme, not communicating, all that. So he's treating them with the fulvic acid and chelating the heavy metals out. And they started to recover pretty quick within 2 or 3 weeks. And, they were responsive and communicating. So it's well known that fulvic acid chelates lead. And then how does it do it without chelating everything else? Well, we know exactly what the order of it is. It will remove and chelate metals in a specific order.
It's a charge.
And lead, it starts with lead. Heavier metals, see? So it's very effective. It's very effective. But I mean, you have to know what dose for how long and monitor. You can also chelate heavy metals by eating cilantro. So it's more important than that. You're talking about cadmium. You're talking about arsenic. It's in high levels. like in Salinas Valley in California, winter crop spinach. It's so high in arsenic and cadmium that the state was thinking about shutting down the production. They didn't. But we did experiments down there. And of course it's again, it's well known in the science behind this that we can also either immobilize uh, these different heavy metals. So it reduces the uptake. There's so many scientific papers on that.
Sequester them. Yeah.
About reducing the uptake of heavy metals by plants. And then the effect, the chelation effect in humans or animals. So that's quite well known. Matter of fact, it goes back to the Ming Dynasty. Is in the book of Compendium of Chinese Medicine. In the Ming Dynasty, 1500s. So yeah, it's not new. That's called Wu Jin San or golden medicine, which is fulvic acid. Shilajit, Mamiya. It was a golden elixir that the Egyptians would extract from the Nile water during flood stage. They called it monatomic gold. And this was the secret to longevity and all that. Well, we know now that it actually is a secret of longevity. And the testing that was done in Germany on our product, on the indicator organism, which is a tiny nematode that's used for that purpose, showed definite life extension properties, among other things. So keep in mind, this is not an external input. This would have been in all our water, all our food, even in the air.
Yeah.
Before the environment was degraded.
Mm-hmm.
Like that tea-colored river or stream coming down the mountains, that's fulvic acid. The biggest supply of fulvic acid, the purest fulvic acid, is the Okefenokee Swamp, the Suwannee River in Florida. So, at one time, you couldn't avoid it. If you're going to be drinking water out of surface water or springs, or you're eating food that's grown in a natural way, you're getting a big dose. And it's an antioxidant, anti-cancer.
Wasn't it pretty prevalent in peat fogs as well?
Yes, peat is a source. Peat's a humate.
Red River used to be a giant log jam before they cleared it out in the 20s.
Yeah. And really it is wood waste. It's bark, it's tannins are required to as the precursor for humic substances. See, so that's why they had to wait 20 years to grow a corn crop in the jungle in Guatemala. And the humic substances to build up. Otherwise, the soil becomes a brick. So it's the whole idea of the terra preta and all that, or the way Hawaiians farmed. What did Hawaiians do? They didn't use anything. Well, they certainly didn't use fertilizer because there was no source. They're 2,500 miles from the nearest mainland. So basically, it's just leaves stripped off of trees. And it was a kapu, or it was forbidden to use human wastes, anything like that. So almost their entire program was leaves. They'd send kids up the trees, kikuyu nut, which is called the candle nut tree, and other trees, mangoes later in history, and other tropical trees. I'm talking about hardwoods. And then they're tromped into the mud. And then at the crop residue, they turn pigs in. And it roots the ground up and mixes everything around and the pig shit and the whole thing, And then they're ready for another crop. They didn't have any metal tools. They had nothing. They used a staff. They basically did no-till farming. I just think it doesn't get more sustainable than what these guys are doing. But the simple
Exactly.
The simple truth was they were stripping leaves off of trees, which is sustainable in the
Yes.
tropics, big time, you know. And that
Plant's
was it.
feeding itself.
Yeah, they'd set up the paddock though, so they could control the water. You know, they were masters at irrigation, and they had these huge fish ponds, and they had aquaculture. They raised this milkfish, and they used waste products from the taro, making poi, which is a fermented taro paste kind of a thing. I mean, they had a totally integrated system. Talking about aquaponics, yeah. And they divert the water through these paddocks where they grow sweet potatoes and taro, and there were rock walls surrounding them. And so they put the water in there, and then they could put the leaves and start trumpeting it in with their feet, see, in the mud. And then that water they'll continue down to the ponds where the fish were. So they could have fish all the time. They didn't have to go fishing because the water it's rough in the winter out there, kind of difficult. So they had the whole thing figured out. And basically it was leaves, right? Does it get simpler than that? See,
No, that's what
we're
I
making a
put
big
leaves all
thing.
the
We're making a
time.
big thing out of something that's really
Yeah.
simple.
So simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's the whole idea of plowing down vetch or cover crops, crop residue or decay management. Um, it's but you see, we had the war between the humus theory of plant nutrition and the salt fertilizer theory of plant nutrition, and that came from von Liebig in the early 1900s, right? When they did some experiments and they showed they could grow plants with chemical salts. And so that they said, well, see, that just proves the humus theory of plant nutrition. So now we're going to go this way. It's the salt theory of plant nutrition.
Well, speaking of that, because my wife's an athlete, so does your research suggest that crops grown in a biological, humic-rich system have significantly higher bioavailable mineral content for high-performance individuals compared to the standard organic crops?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer because there's so much variability out there. I mean, I grow my own stuff. Matter of fact, my salad is waiting in there, my kale and my other stuff, you know. Well, I don't know. I'm not really a nutritionist on that level, but it's kind of complicated in my
lab
bio.
work, you know.
Yeah, bottom line, I know about racehorses. I worked with them. Yeah, increases, the right nutrition is not just like, okay, you need this and you need that. Increases the red blood count. Now you can carry more oxygen for endurance of an athlete. Now we prove that with horses because horses are worth money. They run races. They win races. Of course, so do people. And guess who uses all these things? The Chinese athletes.
The Tour de France, a bunch of guys got busted because they were taking that, was it EPO, that would help them hold more oxygen in their red blood cell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, they could have used fulvic acid and it would never be detected.
Right.
Yeah. And probably some of them are. I bet the Chinese are. Because they know about this. And they take cordyceps mushrooms too.
Sure.
And that gives them incredible endurance. That's why they win these endurance races. But yeah, how much blood can you hold? Oxygen, blood count. That's what endurance athletes want and need, you know. And that gets real complicated. You know, it's not my world. You know.
Well, I think you can tell your wife cordyceps and fulvic acid should be better.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly pointing in the right direction. That's pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, she's a
promise you that.
cyclocross champion. She races track lacrosse. She's a straight gangster when it comes to athleticism. She won a state championship in cross country. Yeah, she got
Oh, there you
recruited
go.
to
Yeah.
a really elite school. So yeah, she's a badass.
Well, she should go to my website where I sell my doctor friend who's an MD, holistic MD. It's called Monolife Lab, and we have the cordyceps mushroom in combination. That's called Quantumana. It has like 6 or 7 different medicinal mushrooms, Asian medicinal mushrooms, including cordyceps. It also has humic and fulvic acid. Plus, we sell the human grade of fulvic acid, which is the Chinese name, Ujinsan, or black gold medicine.
I'm gonna have to get some of that.
So that's all available on the Monolife Lab website.
Nice.
Again,
I
it's
like
not
that.
me doing the selling, it's Dr. Elizabeth Wanick, who's an MD, and she does telemedicine and stuff like that. And
Wow.
she knows the story. You know, she's got a degree in biochemistry. She can just put me under the table with some of these explanations. You know, I'm not really, I'm just a farmer and a grower, you know. But
Agronomist, though. You're an
yeah,
agronomist.
I'm an agronomist,
Yeah.
but she's into this like way deeper than I am, you know. She's saving people's lives. Of
Well,
course, you know, maybe I am
you're
too.
helping. You're helping.
But yeah, just
I,
check out that website. There's lots of information there. I mean, there's
Hell yeah.
massive amounts of information. Plus
hell yeah.
me and her, like in podcasts, like really back and forth with some deep shit, you know. And
I could imagine.
yeah. But it's again, I can take that down to such a simple level that blow your mind. Okay. So in West Africa, slaves were brought over to Georgia and they lived in the Sea Islands in Georgia. And they brought a tradition with them from Africa. And fortunately, they were located in a place where they could still do that. And it was finding this clay kind of peat, high humic deposits, you know, in swamp areas. And they'd roll it up into little balls, let it dry in the sun, and they would consume those every day.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a source of humic acids.
Oh,
So there's examples all over of a tradition behind in every continent.
well, and babies eating dirt. I mean, if you wanted something anecdotal, I mean,
Yeah.
kids eat dirt, and
Or
I mean, they
horses
go for it, or
and
dogs
cattle.
and
Yeah, they'll eat
cats.
dirt. And we saw a
Yeah,
lot of it, the pet people, horses and dog people.
Are
sure.
you
Yeah.
saying that when I was eating sand, I wasn't eating the right thing?
Right.
They'll eat the fence, they'll eat all kinds of things.
That's why you're, just kidding.
Yeah. See, people used to say to me, you know, I used to raise sheep in coffee. And they say, you can't raise
I love you,
tropical
beekeeper.
hair sheep in coffee. They'll eat the tree, they'll eat the bark. I said, yeah, no, they won't, because I know why they eat the tree and the bark.
Ooh,
And I
star
give them
killer.
free choice minerals and humic acid, free choice. They don't eat the bark.
Right.
And it's the same thing with horses and people that constantly eat and are never satisfied. They'll just keep going. Give me another
Yep.
Big Mac. Give me another donut.
Yep.
But see, they're never going to get what they need.
Satiated.
They're never going to get any humic substances, which are the precursor of most of your vitamins and your coenzymes and all that. So of course they're going to be sick. It's just inevitable.
What about this?
Well,
Smoke some prime rib.
speaking of feeding people, is it possible to scale your integrate your
Star
biological
killer.
system to feed 10 billion people without relying on synthetic nitrogen inputs of the green revolution?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But see, there's such big money behind the input business. See, so trying to get it's such an integrated thing with the universities, extension, and all this. It's an information issue. See, the only people that I could really get to were like organic farmers, and even that's difficult because they have a whole nother mindset. Cannabis growers are a little bit more open in some of this stuff. But yeah, we do have the ability and the knowledge and the tools to do what you said because there's other countries doing it. And I know what they're doing. And they're even got a lot of stuff figured out. They got like clever little robots to do different harvesting tasks and drones for spraying and
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of clever stuff come out of like Asia, for instance.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
was looking at what the robot that Japan is making, and I think it was Kubota, and they are quite advanced. We don't see it in the field right now over here, but I think we're gonna see it in the next couple of years.
Well, we're going to have to make big changes for one thing. It may
Yep.
get desperate enough that we do. Of course, like I said, I mean, I was working with guys 40 years ago or more, and they made changes, and they got the results. But, that's at like maybe 10% early adapters, something like that. But mostly all is Germanic and Asian. I don't know whether there's a correlation there, but so that's the thing. I mean, we absolutely do have it. We have the ability to eliminate these, at least these synthetic chemicals,
Yeah,
with a biological approach, biological control. But see, you can't patent these things and then control the price.
correct.
And that's the problem, the way things are set up.
Do you suppose it's the corporations owning the inputs, owning the outputs, owning the freaking
World
medical,
owning the
owning the
world,
medical industry, owning the pills.
everything,
They
They
own
everything.
they
us.
they
They own
all
us.
under
They own
one
everything, dude.
No, but
under one thing.
it's a profit model for shareholders. It's nothing to do about doing the right thing for the planet or you.
No, no, no,
That's
no.
right. It's all about
Yeah.
money. It's all about the
Yeah,
money.
that's
That's
it.
all
I
it
mean,
is.
that's the whole goal of capitalism is nothing more,
Yeah.
That's right. And
and
it's
anything goes.
making for the 5%,
Yeah.
maybe 2%.
So
Do you
they
think
own
that's why
And
those
they own
countries?
everything.
Do
Everything.
you think
Research,
they
that's
everything.
own they got everybody by the balls, including like all these researchers and everything. It
Because they
all
have to
came
sell
out
the
of fake
researchers
research.
back
Hey,
to them.
Fake
They
research.
sell them back. Yeah, they sell the research back to them. They have to buy their research
look
back.
at them. If you want
So,
to amuse yourself, look at all the major colleges and labs that
yes.
Epstein financed.
Yeah, you can't win. I mean, a guy like
Exactly.
me can't.
Yes.
You can only do your own thing, do what you can do, but
Yeah.
you don't get too excited or upset about,
Right.
that you don't think anything's happening.
The only way you would change that is to go about your own way and then show that you're getting way better results this way.
Yeah, that
Right.
always
Get
works.
their attention, but then they would try to find a way to monetize what you had, and somebody was trying to
Right.
buy it out.
There's some folks doing that. You got this guy, John Kempf. He's an Amish guy, horse and buggy Amish. He came to me twice in Idaho or in Oregon, but he's advanced eco ag. That guy is doing the job, that
Yeah.
I never did. I mean, this is a horse and buggy Amish guy from Indiana
Wow. That's
with an
awesome.
8th grade education.
He's
And
got
he's doing a
hustle. He's
better job
hustling it.
than I ever did.
He's hustling it, huh?
He
Nice.
is hustling. He's all over this country, giving
Wow.
seminars. He's got recruited all these people, field men and representatives. He's all over the place. They do buy some of our product.
Wow.
They're using
Cool.
our product. But it's that
That's
whole
cool.
program where you have hands-on,
Sure.
you hold their hand in the transition and you have the bioproducts
Nice.
and you're just determined, kind of a guy, this guy, like maybe that's what I had at one time, but wow, so it's pretty impressive. I mean, I don't totally agree with what he's doing necessarily. I mean, on some technical level, but there you go. The guy with an 8th grade education.
Well, he has a
with a
and a
lot of
burning
hustle
and a
and a
burning
good brain.
desire.
The guy's he's got the story down, but he's missing some of the important details. But he's doing a better job than I ever did.
He's got a
I
process
hate to
that he's
say it.
replicating,
Yeah, but he is using my products.
Mhm.
But I think he owes us money. He's not paying. But anyway, no, that's the problem. I'm just trying to illustrate that it's an economic system.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't return, they can't stay in business.
right?
So I always had to keep them going. They'd get down to low yields and low quality and poor germination. I work with seed industry, garden seed, vegetable seeds, alfalfas. And so it had to have quality to pass, had to have a high germination, and it wasn't. It was getting low yields and shitty germination. Part of that was from the herbicide they were using. Oh, well, okay. So I got them off of Treflan and Eptam and got them onto nutrition and trace elements and humic substances. And yeah, then you back up to 98% germ and 35 sacks. Saves the farm. And I always used to blow my mind. It's so simple. They're just missing a few details here. Oh boy. So yeah, the good news is there's answers. Yeah, we could turn it around. I mean, somebody could, maybe Allah, I don't know.
But
I worked in the Middle East too, and you don't want to get into that attitude, like whatever goes wrong, it's the will of Allah, right? No. Don't blame it on somebody else. Come on.
Well,
lot
some
of
would say we are all collectively make up God, and God is collectively us. That's kind of how I look at it. But
it's a frequency.
yes, it is. You
So
guys
is
want
it.
to read something trippy? The Universal One by Walter Russell. That guy was a friend of Tesla's. Check it out; it'll blow your freaking mind. It's metaphysics, but it's 12 dimensions. It's the guy died for 29 days, came back,
Wow.
and blew everyone's mind. Tesla told him, lock this thing up. He was his best friend, lived down the road from him. Lock this thing up in a vault for 1,000 years because we're not ready for it.
Yeah, I love
check that shit out. Walter Russell. Good
Yeah.
shit. The Universal One. If you want to blow your mind, you
Oh,
got to
there's a
read
lot
it.
of mind-blowing stuff, out there.
Oh yeah. But it
I found out
explains
about one of
everything
my
you're
own
talking about.
ancestors. One of my own ancestors mastered anti-gravity tech.
See, oh yeah, this talks
Alien spaceship, man.
What?
He wrote he's famous, and there's a painting, and it's a historical event. He wrote a beer barrel out of a cellar in Munich, Germany, out of a beer hall on a bet. He mounted it like a horse, and it just floated up. And he had some kind of apparently technology that could. And of course, there's nothing particularly new about that idea. I mean, we know that that's probably what was going on with a lot of these heavy construction. I mean, they had
to
anti-gravity.
move 50-ton obelisks. I'm sure they had this.
Right.
They just use
To
frequencies.
build the pyramids.
They just correlate different frequencies. The Tibetan Buddhists do that with these horns, and they all get around it, and they can negate gravity and move rocks up and down.
And the frequency is the prime mover. They prove that a Nobel Prize. The Big Bang was the frequency.
It's low tech, high touch.
Yeah.
See, that's the way it used to be. Like low energy physics versus high energy physics.
And there's always a balance, right?
But it's all hidden technology. It's like, who's really controlling the whole deal? Well, now they're calling it the Epstein class. Okay, well, yeah. St. Hildegard called it the fat black pigs. I'll go with that.
They were called the black nobility, the black merchants of Venice, too.
Yeah.
So Rothschilds.
Bottom line, agriculture started it because then you had a storable grain commodity that you could tax and store and take from the people, force them to pay up, and then you could sell that on, at a big profit, hold it back, manipulate it. And that's been going on for, I don't know, you can guess how many years, I'm not sure.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Thousands.
And that, yeah, thousands.
Right. The whole bigger picture for
You got to
sure.
get bankings involved and the
Well,
commodity guys. And oh, man.
They
Dave,
own all the everything.
but Dave mentioned the Rothschilds, and it's funny they make the name sound
Yeah,
French
the
thing, but
grain.
the
Mhm.
name really was Rote Schild, which is Old German for red shield, like warning,
shield.
red flag, warning.
Mhm.
Really
Rote Schild is red
interesting.
shield, meaning foreigner.
Watch out. Ooh, watch out.
Yeah, Roth
They're,
child.
like, yeah, that's interesting. And
Red
yes,
field.
They try to say make it sound more noble, Rothschild, but it's Rote Schild. It's old
yeah,
German.
they're tied to the Phoenicians. They're tied all the way back to Baal.
Oh yeah, you got the German or
Ways.
the Italian city states, you know, they're the money guys,
That's right.
Machiavelli and all that.
That's right. And then you have
Lorenzo the Great.
the Zionists now are running it all.
Sure, the money men, the money men.
That what you say Italian, there was no such thing until recent history. Italy is only 100-something years old.
Right.
It was principalities, until they got together.
Yeah, there was when my ancestors came to North America, it wasn't America, it wasn't the United States, and where they came from wasn't Germany. It was the Kingdom of Hesse-Prussia.
Right. Kaiser Wilhelm.
And they were ruled by a baron.
Well, wasn't Eisenkaiser Otto von Bismarck was the last leader of Prussia.
Yeah, and so you have all these different things. It was Hesse, then Hesse-Prussia, and then Holy Roman Empire. The whole thing was the Holy Roman Empire.
And then William the Conqueror.
Italy was Italy was city states.
William the Conqueror came in and fucked it all up. And
well, that's 1,000 years.
Oh man, he got crazy.
What cultivars are you working with there, Dr. Faust? Because you were talking about doing a bunch of
tests.
testing.
Lately? Oh boy. lots and lots. But for the testing I did, I wanted to stick to certain things, and that was Hawaiian and Colombian.
Sure.
What am I doing now? Well, I branched out into Gorilla Glue and got so many different varieties I can't even remember them all right now. But yeah, just to see what different varieties will do, how they will respond.
If with the Gorilla Glue, if you won't see the beta pinene, but I think you're going to see some linalool.
Oh yeah, you will.
It boosted big time with that. Interesting.
Yeah, it actually came out really nice. It was pretty good stuff.
I'm gonna go get some Gorilla Glue right now. I grew it this year also.
Oh.
So yeah, I like it. This year I'm gonna be growing Red Lebanese. I'm going to be growing Skunk Number One, Northern Light NL5. I'm going to be growing a Mexican IBL. So THC Garage, he's in the audience. He's a good breeder. He's the one who's breeding that.
Okay.
So the Skunk Number One and the NL5, I got it from the spot, where everybody gets that from. I don't want to promote him on here, but you know who he is. I got that from him, and then I got a Skunk Annie, an Afghani, and from Judge Bloom's, I have a seed increase that he did with the Hindu Kush.
Wow.
So I'm gonna hook THC Garage up with some Hindu Kush, and I'm gonna grow some more Hindu Kush as well.
That's quite a variety, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going backwards so I could go forwards because I've only been growing myself since COVID. My cousin is the grower who I would always go over to and help. I've been helping him since '96. So I would go over to his house. I would dig the holes. I would mix the soils. I would do all the grunt work. My cousin is older. He is your age, probably, Dr. Faust. So I did all that stuff, and he has Lyme disease. So when COVID came about, I didn't want to go over to his house and bring COVID over there just in case, because I have kids.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to go over there. So I started to grow myself. He hooked me up with some seeds and I started growing myself. Uh, then we didn't make it all the way through the whole grow year. So my wife said, "Hey, why don't you start watching YouTube videos? Maybe then you'll have enough weed to last through the year." So I went on, yeah, so I went on to the Dude Grow show and watched the Dude Grow
Nice.
show, which is a good beginner show.
Yep, I used to listen
Uh,
to it when I first started growing.
yeah, so I
Every day,
started,
bro. Yeah.
yeah, me too. So from there, I learned about Future Cannabis Project. And then in no time, I was had my own show on there, and started doing the home grow show, that having home growers come on. So
Nice.
just lately, I always ask the community because I'm new to this, what nutrient lines are good, which ones are good, and everyone said bioag. Go get bioag. So I hooked up with Josh from
Okay.
Bioag.
Hey,
Wonderful
Josh.
guy.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. We smoke weed all the time together. We hang out every time he comes to Sacramento, we hang out. Good dude.
Oh yeah.
We're
He
like
knows he
twins.
knows his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like twins. When us two good-looking guys get together, yeah.
I mean, look at that, dude.
Bonus too.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So we look exactly like each other.
Yeah,
So
you kind of
I
do.
I
yes,
kind of thought I was wondering if we were going to see another Conehead episode for a minute talking
yeah.
about that.
No. Yeah, I almost wanted to call him up and ask him if he wanted to jump on and stuff, if
Yeah.
he had time to
Well,
jump on.
he started out, he was a grower here in Salem, Oregon, and he worked in a grow shop. And I was buying supplies, and I met him and we got talking. That's when I just selling it for medical use only, not ag use. Well, ag use, but not hydro. So yeah, he's the one who got me started in the whole thing. Him and his buddies, tried it and oh, this is the tits, this is the shit. And I said, well, does that mean good? Um, so yeah, and so then when the thing went sour, the whole grow shop deal, uh, so I, put him to work for us because he knows the business.
Oh
And
yeah, he
the
knows his
cannabis
stuff.
side. Yeah.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
it. I mean, that's the greatest kind of a guy to have represent you, a guy that used it for years himself and, you know, really is behind it. So yeah, and then you use it and you find out that he's the guy. Yeah. I like that
Yeah,
story.
I love the product, man. Everybody, it wasn't me. It was everybody telling me to go use it. Everybody saying it. It was like, yeah, it was one of the products that everybody said to go use. So good on you, Dr. Faust, that you left a wonderful product out there that's still carrying on.
Yeah.
Good
I'm
job.
not done. I'm not done.
He's
Well,
not.
is there anything you would have done different?
No, no. It had to follow that progression that it followed. I developed it in Hawaii, but I had to move to Oregon to do anything with it much. And then everything just kind of fell into place,
Mm.
you know. So the universe was speaking, you might say. So then it put this next thing in my lap, you know, to take it to the next level.
Right.
Yeah.
One
Plus
thing.
gave me the resources to do it. Yeah.
Hell
So,
yeah.
but I don't have I've already passed my expiration date. So, I have to pass this thing on,
Well,
keep it going, right?
lots of us have passed our expiration date. I've been dead twice. I didn't,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you go until you decide you're done.
Oh, yeah.
I've had 4 heart surgeries so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I fell off a cliff when I was a ranger and everybody thought I was dead, but I just popped up, spit my teeth out and walked away. Crashed airplanes twice.
Damn.
Survived Vietnam.
You sure we're not
Survived,
related? Because that looks right.
crashing an
Faust is no
ATV.
joke,
Lots of things. Lots of things. And that's
right?
what happens if you're, if the universe has got a plan for you. See,
That's right.
they're gonna
They're gonna keep you around a little bit.
give you like a light letdown when you fall off a cliff, or keep the airplane from blowing
Right.
up when you crash, things like that.
Right.
So, that's where I'm coming from. So I'm trying to do what the universe, kept me alive to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to
Keep
say
on learning.
before I forget, fascinating talk to you. A lot of really good stuff. I'm sorry, but it's
Too late.
20 after 12 where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I get really,
Too late for me. Right
and
now.
Plug you mentioned how people can find you and your humidifiers and stuff.
vpdpro.co.
Oh,
Check that.
very important. Vapor pressure deficit. You need to make sure your grow area is on point. Otherwise, you'll be growing boof.
It's what I do every single day.
Mhm.
I make sure people's places are dialed in like a Ferrari at F1 position. I want to make sure everything's exactly how it needs to be.
So
Well, I'm gonna
UPO.
have to come talk to you when I start growing indoor.
Well, it comes down to temperature, but not the temperature you think the probe on the wall says, your leaf surface temperature. You give
Yep.
me
Right.
set the thing up and automate it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
very true. That's the latest method, of course, of monitoring field crops is with infrared
Infrared LST.
leaf temperature versus the ambient temperature. Yeah, you can tell from that.
Especially if you're growing indoors with your light source will
Yeah.
change how the plant thinks the temperature is. The probe on the wall might say 83, but if you get an HPS bulb and you eat the plant, it's always hotter than that
Sure.
because the excess infrared from the bulb is heating the leaf surface up.
It's a little tricky getting it just right. I know. I'm trying. I got all new equipment now, and it's like really much more powerful and advanced and controllable.
I'm finishing a new
But
system.
I'm an outside grower,
Make that
really.
easy
I just
for
do
you.
inside stuff for research. Well, not just research, but
Well, most systems are static numbers, so that if they say you set your thing to 83 degrees,
yeah,
whatever you're setting at, and if it varies, if your temperature goes up, your humidity goes down. If your temperature goes down, your humidity goes up. It doesn't balance and stay anything. But I programmed an algorithm I'm working on where it will maintain it. So if the LST goes up, it'll raise the VPD. It'll lower it, and so the room will stay
that's
balanced.
what I need. I need that.
Yeah, that's my obsession this year. I'm very close to finishing that.
I need that the control like that. Because I've had so many power outages, I've been blowing breakers. I put some bigger breakers in today on my grow light system.
Well, how many amps are you pushing per circuit? That's usually what the giveaway is. If you're
Yeah, too many.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Well, that's a separate. I will gladly help with that kind of stuff. That's
Well, it's because we have to heat too.
does all day.
It becomes a problem out here.
Steve knows where to find me, and I still have proof of Steve was here because I still have fur from his dogs in my house years later.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But
There we go.
great talking to you guys. I would love to talk to you guys again. Steve, 10 years, I can't believe, man. It went by like a blink to me. I can't believe it.
Wow, yes. Yeah, 10 years seems to be moving. Yeah, right. I remember I met him in Portland.
Yep. At
Many
the
years
first
ago.
regen conference above the fire hall or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were in Portland, you didn't drink coffee, Steve? They drink a shit ton of coffee.
Oh, in fact, me and Dr. Faust went out to dinner afterwards and then had drinks, and we talked from like 7 p.m. that night until like 4 in the morning about all kinds of fucking soil science stuff. It was great.
That sounds like what you and I did in Vegas.
That's when I was drinking beer, I think. I make beer too. I make really good beer, but I've given it up.
That's good.
I'm into tea now, so I'm trying to lose weight.
Us old guys, we can't be drinking the beer.
Yeah, no,
I hear you.
You're close, Dave. You're old adjacent,
Yeah, 57. I'm getting there.
I'm a little bit above you.
Well, I'm only
You guys look
79.
great. You know, that's the thing. Stoners, it's funny. I mean, we endure, man. We abide. The dudes abide. You
You
know?
I
don't
think
kick your
so.
own ass, you'll be around for a while.
Well, they said that it would kill me, but they didn't say when.
Yeah.
And I'll leave on that note because I'm hungry.
All
Well,
right.
thanks so much,
Enjoy your salad, sir.
Brendan and
Yeah.
Dr. Faust for
Yeah, my
joining us
kale.
tonight. It's been awesome.
It's good kale.
Sounds
Really
good.
appreciate it.
Hydro. Okay. Later.
Take care.
See
Aloha.
you, Dr. Faust.
Nice to meet you
Au
guys.
revoir.
Great. Let's talk, Dr. F.
Yeah. 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 I'm here.
I'd like to. All right, man. I'll have to hit Steve up for how to get a hold of you.
I think we'll have to wrap up the show. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks everybody who supported the show over the years.
Hell
One of the
yeah.
things I've also learned over the years is the less I talk, the better the episodes are. So it's really fun to like let people like jam on the different things that they know about and trying to tee people up for stuff that they like to talk about. So yeah, it's been fun. And it was cool to do like a long episode tonight, like we used to do. We used to do like 3-hour episodes all the time. So it's kind of fun
I
to
still
do.
do 3-hour episodes. It's easy. Come on, man. You can come over and hang out.
Yeah, but usually I'm working when you're on. I do watch you sometimes, but usually I'm doing stuff that's loud. So
Thank you for watching.
and
Coming to a city near you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I wished I had an old school radio show or something because they say I have the voice for it, but here I
If
am.
you do a show,
Yeah,
just make sure you don't talk to the guests.
right.
Like what Ponics said
Yeah, it's the
uh,
key. The key. Shut your
is
mouth. Shut your mouth.
shut your mouth
Set
and
your
let
fucking
them talk.
trap, homie.
I love the guests that have the gift of gab. I don't have to do any heavy lifting. I don't have to ask any questions. I
Yep.
just let them go, and
Yep.
I'm happy.
I used to also when I first started the show 10 years ago, I used to take a ton of notes and like I'll take notes sometimes if I don't know all the things that a certain guest knows about or if like what the newest stuff they're up to. But nowadays, like most of the time, if I have someone on the show, like I know a lot about them or I've researched them or I'm inviting them on because I want them to talk about something specific already. So something where I don't spend as much time prepping questions and shit because it's easier to just kind of flow with it and what they're good at and what they know about. So, anyways, I don't just other random observations from doing the show over the years. But I think it's time to wrap it up. It's been a minute. I'm pretty tired. I need some food.
All right, guys. Enjoy.
But,
Thanks.
Thanks everybody for watching. Check out the Do Grow Show or Do Grow Show. They helped start the show off. Sorry, I was reading chat. Someone mentioned something. Check out the Growing with Fishes podcast. And also Dat Smoke Show and DAT Smoke Show if you want the more old school panel style of show.
That's it.
And
Gero. Yeah.
Enjoy us on whatever platform you're enjoying. We have
George
all the different podcast platforms and Rumble and Spotify and YouTube and all the things. So
beautiful.
Enjoy us wherever you like. All right, guys, take it easy.
Good evening, guys.
And here's for 10 more years.
Here's a 10
Have
more.
a good night.
Thank you.
All right, we're offline.
All right, fellas.